Brought to you by the Florida Department of Magic. Welcome to Florida, baby. Florida is the original Garden of Eden. Florida has the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world. Florida oranges are the golden apples of mythology. A race of giant men once roamed this peninsula. The Smithsonian can suck my balls. Florida is littered with many ancient megalithic ship anchors, known as sacks or snags. I'm bringing Sexa back. Noah's Ark was constructed out of gopher wood. Gopher wood only grows one place in the world, Florida. Florida is the birthplace of the United States. The first Thanksgiving was in Florida.
Yellow, yellow. How's everyone doing out there? Happy July 15th. Unfortunately, everyone saw what happened a couple days ago. What was it, Saturday, 13th? And terrible event in American history, but it'll be good in the long run. I'm already seeing some good things, but there's some not so good things, and we're going to talk about it all tonight. And so we're coming to you live from Lake Worth Beach, Florida, not far from Palm Beach, where Donald Trump's primary residence is. And there was actually not too many people know, there was a attempt on a president's life in Palm Beach Island. Not long after Kennedy was nominated or won the presidency, but I don't think he had yet been inaugurated. Between that time period, there was actually a car bomb attempt on JFK. Obviously before the later assassination attempt, which was successful. But this plot was foiled, and they found this older guy with a bunch of pipe bombs in his car. So that happened in Palm Beach Island. A little bit of a history of presidential assassinations. And down in Bayfront Park in Miami, there's a big baobab tree. And at that same park, there was an attempted assassination. I forget who it was. But yeah, so everyone knows it's all everyone's been talking about the last couple of days, and we're gonna try and do it justice. And none of us were there, but we got a great panel here, some nice critical thinking minds. We're gonna have another one joining us a little later too. Spencer from Florida is gonna slide in here, but we've got Shem Jacobs of Tartarian Truth. How you doing, Shem?
Not too bad. Happy to be here. Just got back from vacation. It was great. Spent time with family. Thanks for having me.
Shelly, that looked pretty cool. You saw a bear, right?
Yeah, I saw about 10 bears. It was amazing.
Nice. Now, what gay bar was that at? You were frequenting?
It was the one that you kept sending me Snapchats from that one time.
Oh, man, your mom was using my Snapchat again. But, yeah, Tartarian Truth channel. Guys, go check him out. He's in the trenches, fighting the good fight. And then we've got Jimmy Stingray, of course, producer, right-hand man, assistant, Australian, whatever. He's probably a little busy doing something, but we won't bother him. But we've got special guests here tonight. Most of you guys probably know him. One of the top astrologers in the world. Could not recommend his channel and his services highly enough. Robert Phoenix, everybody. He's going to be giving us some astrological insight. What's up, Robert?
It is great to be back in the realm of Longo.
Shut up. What have you been up to?
Let's see. What have I been up to? Well, trying to stay on top of the Trump thing, right? It's like chasing the dragon. And there's so much to kind of break down and sift through. And it's not just, these patterns and information, wherever you're drawing the sources from, but it's also like people's belief systems and programs. And there's just an incredible amount of smog, right? That's in the general public, in the atmosphere. Right. So that's also a real challenge when you try to cut through something like this. And it really causes an individual to really, kind of observe their perspective. Right. And to find a place that's both neutral and true at the same time, which is not always easy to do, especially when there's so much coming at us in so many different directions. But just for the last 48 hours, man, this has been the story, right? This is the timeline changer that we're looking at right here.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens after this, especially since some people are saying that they're gonna have more attempts on his life since the cat's out of the bag now. So we'll see if any of that pans out.
Well, the RNC is like already begun, right? I mean, it's starting. What is it, tomorrow or something?
I think it started today
Yeah,
officially.
started
today. Yeah, and apparently on an interview, Alex Jones said that he had spoken to him. Alex is at peak Alex Jones right now. He said he's spoken to Trump post the event, and he said, do not go to the RNC. You can't go. They're going to kill you. Like they failed. They're very embarrassed. They're now going to throw everything at it. You can't go. And he says, no, I'm going to go. I have to go. I'm not gonna puss out. I got to go. And so, I mean, look, we got to buckle up. It's probably going to be a wild ride to whatever happens. Maybe nothing happens, but I mean, they certainly intended to take him out the other day, I think, and so it's very wild, historic times that we're in right now, I think.
Absolutely.
So, guys,
Absolutely.
there's one thing that's on everyone's minds. It doesn't matter what side of it you are, but we got to address the elephant in the room, right? The GOP elephant in the room. Okay. Staged or not staged? I know this is what everyone's fapping themselves to sleep with the last 2 nights. Okay. Staged or not staged? We're going to give all the panelists here their take on it. And I know we've got Spencer joining in later, and he's definitely going to have another take on it. So we're not just, echo chambering here, but I'll let my any one of my guests pop in who's ever eager to tackle that, staged or not staged. What do you guys think? And drop us in the comments. What do you guys think?
I would say that I'm entertaining both sides of it. I mean, there are very suspicious things about it. The fact that there are videos of the shooter crawling on the roof and people telling the Secret Service what's going on, but nothing is being done about it is very suspicious. Now, what type of staging was it? Was it something staged to actually take him out or cause some sort of narrative to support him? It's hard to tell, kind of like what Robert was saying. It's hard to tell what's true and what's false in this situation. But I don't think, I mean, from what I've seen, my initial reaction was it was not staged, although I'm open to the idea that it was.
Yeah.
Right. James.
Well, I mean, look, it's huge. So this is the thing. I was on the porch. I was in the sun. We're hanging out, having a great time. And I think you texted me longer, and I was just like, well, okay. I was like so surprised and also so not surprised. We've all been kind of expecting something like this. But when you first see those first images, the picture, the famous photo, the first thing that comes into your head is that it's too good to be true. That photo is too, it's like a painting. It's like so maxed out. It's so perfect in every way, And then it's funny. The funny point here, which is hilarious, is the left, or like just normies and people that would never suspect anything's fake. They think this is fake. People. It's like a meme, but the common opinion in most like left-wing circles is that it's all an election ploy to get him more elected or whatever. And so it's funny that they never think anything's fake. They think this is. I initially thought, okay, well, I'm not saying anything. I need to really dig into this because I think so much is faked. And you dig into all sorts of historical events, you figure it out. Oh, it's like, well, what's actually real? But I think it's dangerous that once we've looked into enough things, we don't fall into that Bill Casey, once the American public believes that everything that they see is fake, then our mission is complete. That whole objective. It's important that we don't think everything is fake. They got us where they want us to be if we fall into that. So we have to not discount actual miracles or flukes or acts of God or whatever it is. And so, there was a few things with this. I think with the colossal failure of the Secret Service, I think that can be bought. You can capture every member of a team He already apparently requested more security. That was denied. And then you look into who runs the Secret Service, and there's some very interesting things I'm going to go into about that later. But that I can see as part of the operation. If someone has enough money, they can do that. But in terms of the real mysterious things that still, to me, are like strange, is obviously the fluke of the bullet. I mean, it's a miracle. I do think it was an actual bullet that grazed him, but and the main thing to me is the shoe. And as soon as I saw the shoe came off, I was just thinking about, all the times when the news says, "Oh, there's a mass shooting," and the photo is always of a bunch of shoes. And Ole Demigod, that Swedish guy, he's always going on about how you can tell things are fake because they just like throw shoes around, and it's like this media trigger. I don't know if you guys have seen anything like that. He points to shoes as this like subconscious trigger that we all have or something. And because I was just thinking, how does a shoe come off? But
Yeah.
it could elastic laces. If you're campaigning all over the place and you're 80 years old or whatever, you can have elastic laces and you can just slip it off as soon as you get into a vehicle, right? I get that. You're standing on your feet doing speeches all the time. So, there's a lot to it. I think it was an operation. I think the Secret Service was captured. I think there's a very powerful force that was behind this. But I don't think it was a false staged election campaign stunt.
Right. Yeah. Well said. Staged is a bit vague, and we're gonna let Robert give us his 2 cents too. But I would just say you touched on a big one, which is, if the Illuminati controls the weather, they control all the elections, they control all the music, control all the food, control all the assassination attempts there's ever been. Where's God in all this?
Right.
I see a lot of these truthers are just, their God is now the Illuminati New World Order.
Yeah.
Anything that ever happens now is the Illuminati pulling strings. I think that's a psychosis that a big amount of the truth community has fallen into. Everything's fake because I don't want to think about it. That's too much critical thought. I run into this all the time with, different topics. It's if you're challenging someone, sometimes it's easier to be the conspiracy theorist and just be like, that's fake. I'm actually the authority on that now because I know it's fake and you don't know it's fake. Oh, that's cute. I remember my first assassination attempt. Oh, you don't know that's fake yet? Oh, that's cute, little baby. I'm running into a lot of these patronizing, you don't know it's fake yet types. That being said, I would not rob God of the ability of a miracle like that, which is what everybody's doing when they just immediately say, oh, staged, Illuminati, ketchup packet to the head, ketchup pack to the ear. No, he was on the WWE. He did WWE, then he did this. So he has the same ketchup pack from when he did WWE. Case closed.
The ketchup packet that Corey Comparatori had must have been pretty good then. The dude who actually died protecting his family.
Right,
that was a brain. That's a brain packet.
That's a hamburger pack, unfortunately.
Really good effects. I guess that doesn't matter that he died though for all these people.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's wrong with it. Shem, you hit the nail on the head when you dropped that meme earlier of your average assassination denier. Number one, it's robbing God of the miracle. What we all witnessed was a miracle. I firmly believe that. Maybe others are, have been eating too much chakra annihilating food or something to not witness, not recognize a hand of God event. Do I think that there was, staged could entail a whole lot. I think that the shooter bypassed security measures. Of course, those guys were either not doing their job, were getting paid not to do their job, were blackmailed into not doing their job, or
Yeah.
the snipers. We're going to go through the evidence, the Reddit poster saying, or 4chan poster saying, oh, I'm the sniper. I had the guy in my sights, wasn't allowed to take the shot. We're going to get through a lot of that.
That's Jonathan Willis, I believe his name is, if that's real. But I haven't found any, proof that someone was fired, because he says he was immediately fired for disobeying orders and taking the shot, because they were all ordered to stand down apparently. But there is nothing on him, so it could have just been a 4chan. There's no confirmation of that.
Yeah, to me,
But
it's
what the footage looks like.
To me, it's a pretty good acid test of whether someone is welcoming miracles into their own life, or whether they're only welcoming Illuminati manipulation into their own life. If they look at that video and they see an act of God and they interpret it as the Illuminati, steering every aspect of reality, that's what what you see is what you get with those people. It's like they've just swapped control systems. They've just swapped inferiority complexes. They've just swapped, hey, I'm a government pawn to now I'm an Illuminati pawn. And it's like, I see through it all, but it hasn't gotten you anywhere. So
it's so depressing, so bleak to and this is what I've been really weighing up, with is it staged, is it fake or not? And I think living in that world where you just say everything is always faked and staged, it's depressing. I mean, you have to allow for some majesty and beauty, and you can look into things, and you should be able to have the discernment to realize all the things that really are obviously faked, and you know that because you can see actual evidence that lines up. And you should be also allowed to accept God's miracles or just incredible things that happen. Otherwise,
Right.
life is very great without that.
Well, Robert.
Well, I think you bring up a really great point about people sort of being inducted into this everything is fake and it's all run by the Illuminati paradigm. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, and I've been talking about this for a while, we all kind of go into our rabbit holes, right? And we go into these places and we research and we pattern recognize and we link this to that and this to that. And before you know it, we're almost taking a crash training course in Illuminati training, right? I mean, it almost feels like all these things that we've been doing. I've talked about this before, that all these things that we've been doing for, say, the last 20 years are really actually moving people more towards the type of reality that you're talking about versus trying to understand it, decode it, break it down, and then be free of it. So it almost feels like, we've been part of this kind of mass project or mass experiment, right? To give people sort of this esoteric understanding of things, which, to your point, ultimately leads them nowhere, right? It becomes a cul-de-sac because there's no possibility of grace, or there's no possibility of the miraculous, or there's no possibility of divine intervention. And these are all really, really important elements to our story, which has been a part of our story for a very long time. But I would say over the last 20 to 25 years, that's been diminished greatly, right? So I'm with you on this. And, essentially what it does is it turns the populace into nothing but nihilists, right? People are just nihilists who have absolutely, no investment in the future. And that's the other part of it. Well, why do we want to have kids?
Exactly.
Right. And then there's this whole transference of power also that goes on, right? Because if that's true and they're able to do all these things, then, what about little old me? Well, what can I do in this world? What can I do in this universe? So I think we're reaching kind of like peak levels of that. And this event, I think, is kind of an amazing Rorschach in a lot of ways to, see where people are with it. I have been, I'm not an anti-Trump person. I'm not a TDS guy, but I've been critical with Trump because I think he deserves criticism at times.
Absolutely.
Nobody's above criticism. But at the same time, when I saw what I saw on Saturday, I had to put that aside, right? I didn't try to put that into my frame set of, what I thought Trump is or could be capable of. I had to sort of allow my senses and my instincts to guide what I was seeing. And what I saw was incredibly visceral, right? It was really visceral. If people say that he was acting, like that's some fucking Marlon Brando level acting that we saw right there, right? Because the clip with the ear and everything, like the way that he reacts on that. Now there are people that say, well, he had a little tiny charge in his ear, right? Which, exploded. Well, the way that he reacts is almost like he's annoyed and stunned, right? But then when he gets down and he's underneath that podium and you've got that side shot of him, when you're looking at him at that profile, I can tell you right now, that is a man that's scared shitless.
Yeah.
Right. He is coming face to face with his mortality in that moment. You can just see it, right? It's just like radiating off the screen. And long ago, I sent you that video, that guy who did that prophecy thing about Trump. I think it was back in March. And, almost like, step by step, kind of lays this thing out. Right. Yeah. He lays this thing out. And what he says about Trump when he's down beneath the podium, you can almost see that it taking place, right? This is a guy who is like coming face to face with his maker, right? And then when he pops up and he kind of, gets his bearings a bit, and then he pumps the fist, right? Like that's pure emotion.
Yeah.
That is pure. I don't think that that's staged at all. And there are people who are saying, oh, gee, couldn't he have said something a little more diplomatic? Or why did he have to say fight, fight, fight? Well, he's got Mars on his ascendant. What do you think he's going to do? Right. That's how the guy is. That's how he's wired. Please. And then the thing with the shoe is really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, but there's a I think it was the season before this one where Larry goes to a Holocaust memorial and there's this big pile of shoes there.
Yeah.
Right. And he doesn't have any shoes and he finds a pair and they fit him really well. So he walks out in these shoes. Right. And there's a whole other storyline to that. But when you talked about the shoes, I mean, that's what popped into my head was like, well, of course.
Yeah,
well, these
that's
shoes,
the original.
Yeah,
the original shoe. Yeah, the pile of shoes. Yeah,
the original shoe symbol. But I took it a little bit differently, and first of all, I talked about this last night. Like the right ear is really symbolic versus the left ear, right? So the right ear is the male principle of God, right? This is where you would hear like God's command. Right, as an action through the right ear. Okay, and then the thing with the shoes is that his foot is uncovered, right? So what's at the bottom? What's at the bottom of his foot? It's his soul, right? And so now we're dealing with like he's literally having to deal with this thing. Like his soul is uncovered, right, in this moment. So you put those two things together, and to me, it's like something much bigger is happening here than we understand. Like why would he just start wailing about his freaking shoes?
Yeah,
right? And I think a guy like Trump, even though he might be old school, he could also be wearing a pair of like really like slick Armani slip-ons too, right? Like that's possible. He might be old school and go with the elastic laces, but to me, those two things, the ear, which is the right ear of the Logos or the right side of God, which is the Logos, and then his uncovered foot, which was his soul. I'm like, this is really interesting. Like this is kind of like next level stuff that we're dealing with. And even in his chart, as I was going through it last night, there's really interesting things going on with his 12th house and his 8th house. And the 8th house is the house of the underworld and death, and the 12th house is the house of the soul. And so there are two aspects that are happening simultaneously. One transiting Neptune on his Vesta, which is 28 degrees Pisces, and then transiting Vesta in his 12th house, which is in Leo, conjuncting his natal Pluto. So he's having these two Vesta moments, right? And Vesta's like the end of your life. It's kind of like your end game story. It's sort of illuminating back towards you from the end of your existence. So he's had this outer planet Neptune on Vesta for a while now. And so those are the other two things that really grabbed me. As far as it being staged, and I think that clearly it was an attempt on his life, right? This is an attempt on his life. And if you want to throw in Matthew Crooks as kind of like a MK Ultra Manchurian Candidate kind of kid, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then yeah, it is staged. Well, because somebody else was also there with another gun. Right. And so that's a whole different part of the conversation.
It depends on the definition.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think orchestrated is a pretty fair.
Is a better term for it. Yes.
Right. So staged would kind of imply that every aspect of it was an act. Orchestrated would mean it wasn't just one guy. There were other parties at play, whether it was brainwashing, MK Ultra, FBI sending him a brand new, AR-15 in the mail or something like that. I don't know what the story on how he got it is, but
it has a lot of same characteristics of the shooter at Uvalde, the shooter in Highland Park in Illinois, and the shooter in Buffalo, and then the shooter that was at the food court in Indianapolis, who actually got taken out by some guy with a handgun.
Yeah, legend.
Yeah,
before he did anything.
Yeah, they all have kind of a similar theme. Like, I think that the guy in Uvalde and Matthew Crooks actually had the same rifle, by the way.
Standard issue of MK Ultra.
And
Manchurian Candidate.
Was it Daniel Defense?
I think so.
It was an AR, wasn't it?
It is not a cheap rifle either. It's about $5,000 new.
Well,
right. Well,
here's the biggest conspiracy. If we're going to start teeing off on actual rabbit holes, hang on, what's going on over here? Well, we got to start off with the name. You guys know me. Always start off with the name of what you're talking about, right? What's his name? Thomas Crooks?
Matthew
Thomas
Crooks.
Okay. Now, what jumps out right away?
Crooks.
All of the major American assassins have had triple names.
Oh yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald, John Wilkes Booth, and Thomas Matthew Crooks. So the triple name, I don't know if that's a confused identity thing where they want to make sure no other Thomas Crooks, gets swept up into the media. I don't know if they do that for, specificity, or if that's just how these people went in their everyday lives. But you'll notice that Abraham Lincoln assassinated by a three named, his name is his whole name, pretty much. JFK assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald, triple name. And Trump attempted assassination by Thomas Matthew Crooks. So the triple name, there's got to be something to that.
Crooks, Mark David Chapman is another triple name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The only one who doesn't have a triple name, ironically enough, is Sirhan Sirhan. He really only has one name, but it's repeated twice, right? So he doesn't fall into that category. I don't know why they do that. I don't know if he went by Thomas Matthew Crooks, right? but maybe it's just par for the course when they have somebody like this, and they do
Signaling,
go by 3 names.
or maybe it's more ammunition for anagrams, and they can rearrange more letters to spell more different coded messages. Or
Yeah,
we got to
As
get
far-
the Scrabble out.
As far
Get
as
the
names,
Scrabble.
as far as names goes, there's another one too, which is kind of a stretch, but
Oh yeah.
in Hebrew, to die is muth, M-U-T-H. If you turn the U sideways, it's a C, which is for crooks. Then you have Matthew and Thomas with the TH. When God was creating the universe, the TH asked to be the first letter in the alphabet, and God said no because you're associated with death. So you have
Wow.
you have all 3 of those syllables within his name if you turn the U to the side, obviously. But I mean,
True.
just a random little thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, with the okay, you have to be a simpleton to think it was just some guy. Oh, he was a disaffected Republican, but then he went full, Antifa, left, Democrat, environmentalism. But he's actually now comes back and he loves gun shows on YouTube, gun tube shows, and it's that crazy classic backstory. Also, he's 20 years old. He has no social media at all, and he's in the BlackRock commercial. And it's like it ticks every box of a perfect patsy. You have to be kind of simple to think it's just him. And the 2 minutes where they were just watching him load the gun and take the aim, and it just whoopsie daisy. It just accidentally, obviously it's not just some kid that did this. It's
Right.
you have to see that
Yeah.
it's a colossal failure, and it's not like 9/11. Oh, it was a security failure of gigantic proportions, or whatever they said about that. It's a organized thing where they were told to stand down. They must have been, because I'm pretty sure the orders are you shoot any threat, right? Like, first of all, no one would have been able to get within hundreds of meters away. Like, a whole perimeter would have been so tightly guarded. They would have had aerial coverage, drones. It would have been supposed to be so locked down. And then they could see him, and he was shooting for a while, and they didn't do anything. So it's like, you have to know that they were in on it. They were paid, compromised, whatever. And when you look into who runs the Secret Service and who was running it when Trump got in, very interesting. He revealed something. He exposed something that he shouldn't have. They got rid of him. And it was all around basically undermining, making sure. That's right. It was that they were sending him out when Trump first got elected. These people, deep state, whatever, in the Secret Service, they made sure that Trump's bodyguards were not armed. They made sure that they had no guns on them, and they cut funding for them, and they did this and this and this. They're just sort of poking holes in the tires, from day one. And if someone revealed that, and he got fired for it. So it's been going on since he was elected.
Yeah, it's interesting too that Dr. Jill was in Pittsburgh, not far from there, with more Secret Service. Right, she probably had the A-team with her.
Yeah.
Right.
I see a lot
One
Go
time
ahead,
I was
sorry.
on the freeway in California, and there was this almost endless line of squad cars, sheriffs, black SUVs, cars like on the the over ramp or the flyover on the freeway, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Right? I mean, the amount of like security was just over the top, and I found out it was for Laura Bush, and I'm like,
Wow.
would people really know if Laura Bush was in a freaking just gray Yukon or whatever?
Yeah, what
No,
does she even look
probably
like?
not.
Yeah,
Right?
like, it's
You wouldn't even know
irrelevant.
what she looked like. But
Yeah.
that gives you an idea of really what a Secret Service detail at that level,
Yeah.
looks like. It's massive. It's
Yeah.
totally massive. And the first time that there was an anomalous figure spotted on the roof, they should have told Trump to get down.
Oh
it.
yeah. How did
Right?
they not have a single drone? How did they not have aerial coverage? Because the line that they're saying is, oh, look at the aerial shot. There's a tree. The shooter was hidden by a tree, and you can see if you look at the aerial of the whole site. There's the building here, the building there, and then there is a line of trees, and then he supposedly was tucked behind the tree. They would have drones. They would have been on every building. Why were they not on every roof? Why was there a roof within shooting distance in the middle of fields that they weren't on themselves? It's absurd.
Here's my thing. I didn't get a good look at the rifle. Please drop a link for us, or any of you guys drop a link if you have some good up close photos. But I've seen the guy's brains blown out. I've seen the real corpse. The real Thomas Crooks with his head practically blown off. So that. You can't just fake that within like 2 hours of it happening.
Yeah.
So you can see the real corpse. He definitely got real, dead. You can see. My whole thing is, number one, that was a suicide mission, which totally increases the percentage that it was a MK Ultra, BlackRock, brainwashing. He was kind of, they kind of pushed him into doing it, something like that, because John Wilkes Booth tried to run away and survive. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Some say he did.
Say what you want. Ran away and tried to survive. This guy had no intention of surviving. He was right up in there. He was
kept shooting.
Brazen, right? And exactly, he got that's another point is, did that look like a delusional 20-year-old, schizophrenic incel shot, first shot within an inch of a kill shot? Or did that look like a brain chip MK Ultra, Manchurian candidate shot, where the first shot was within millimeters of a kill shot?
Yeah.
So that first shot.
Not only that, but wasn't he on a metal roof?
Yeah.
Do you know what the temperature on a metal roof would be?
Ooh.
Laying down? That roof was probably about 125 degrees, maybe. Right.
Yeah.
So to your point, Longo, I think that even that was not going to override his program. Whatever program they had him on, he could lay prone on something that could fry an egg.
Yeah.
Right.
Wearing a tank top.
Yeah.
Wearing a t-shirt.
Exactly. So here's my theory. I think this is kind of concurrent with these other shooters. They find these guys in these first person shooter games on Twitch, right? They find them on these first person shooter games and they start to connect with them in chat, and eventually they get them into a Discord. And that's where they develop this relationship with these dudes. Right. And I think that there's probably either some form of, pharmakia or something else that's involved as well, or therapy. Like some of these other guys are going through kind of a dream therapy thing. And that goes to the shooter in Indianapolis. He spent apparently almost 2 hours in the bathroom before he came out to shoot whoever he was going to shoot. And I think what was going on is that he was probably having a series of text messages with his handler, and that he didn't want to do it. He was kind of like, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this. And he kept him on there for a long time because witnesses saw him in there for a long time. So that's my theory, is that they scrape these guys out of these first person shooter games. They kind of profile them and then they work on them for a while. The shirt that he was wearing was Demolition Ranch, and Demolition Ranch is right down the road from me here in Texas.
Oh. And
the guy Matt, who has that show, it's one of the most popular gun shows on YouTube. It's insanely popular because he's really funny and he does all these crazy like stunts and challenges, with firearms and tanks. But in no way is this guy political. He never brings up politics. But if you're going to go after somebody on YouTube who's got the whale of the gun channel, put his T-shirt on the shooter.
Yeah, ban ARs, ban guns. Yeah, it's got the current government all over it, written all over it. It's got the agenda of the CIA and the deep state, a national security state, written all over it. You get the guy that does the crazy thing and then just whack that shirt on. I feel sorry for the YouTube, for the channel guy. That would suck. I mean, he's probably going to blow up now, maybe. Who knows?
He actually
But-
he's a vet. Like, he works with animals, and so he had to go on and do a video about it. And he's just like a really super nice guy.
Yeah.
Hey, so Longo, I actually have Trump and Crooks's chart, and I put it in the private chat. And it's the second one, I think, or no, it's the first one. I think it's the first one. If you want to click on that, I'll show you that he was a shooter.
You got the natal chart of the shooter.
Yeah. So really, I don't have the time, but when you look at Sinistry, you really don't need the time.
Right.
All you need to know is where the planets align, right? And
Wow.
I can show you that he was a shooter based on the chart.
Sweet.
We've got that queued up. I want to get through a good take by my buddy Justin Harvey of We Are Change out of Orlando. And he has a good take. He is not a Trump lover. He's not MAGA. He is not, he's one of my favorite, just good old fashioned conspiracy theorist, right? He's the guy who, in part, blew the lid off the Challenger astronauts being alive and well. He was, instrumental in that and some other things. He goes in and does, like the town hall meetings and city commission meetings with the public view camera. He'll go up and talk about the Challenger, flat Earth, bubbles in space.
Yes, so good.
Right there in front. So Justin, he's a total based conspiracy Chad out of Florida, and I'm surprised by his take. It's one that we're kind of agreeing with, admittedly, but I did not expect this from him. He's one of the most critical of Trump. He's not a Republican, not a Trump lover. This is his take on it. And if you don't know who he is, check out his stuff. He does a lot of V word activism too.
And fluoride, right?
Man on the street, fluoride, everything. Weather manipulation.
So good. It's so good.
He's great. He confronts people. He's confronted what's this guy? Peter Hotez or whatever his name is.
Oh,
Fauci's number 2 man. He confronts astronauts. Super courageous guy. This is his take on the whole thing. See if we can zoom in on this. Oh, whoops. Okay.
Yeah,
Justin Robert. I don't think it was totally staged. This is him talking. I don't think it was totally staged. I think it was an inside job. I think they tried to kill him. And not because he's truly after the deep state, but because it would cause the chaos they so desperately want.
Yeah.
# Trump assassination attempt. Now,
it already is.
His other comments. I wanted to wait until the dust settled a bit. The amount of rumors, theories, and disinfo when something this big happens is a lot to sift through and process. But after about 36 hours, this is where I'm at. I don't think a 20-year-old Adam Lanza type kid, mentally unstable loner, just evaded Secret Service and access to roof that close to the president without help or stand down orders, etc. We've been fed 3 different shooter names for the alleged shooter. Mark Violets. What do you guys think about this? Mark Violets.
Is that the Italian guy that people have done the like Sam Hyde thing where they say it's him, but he's like an Italian celebrity, like he's kind of fat, right?
Yeah.
He's in his sunglasses. Is that him?
That's what
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's their little joke over there.
So it could be a joke. Mark Violets, Maxwell Urick, and Thomas Matthew Crooks. This is usually done to cause confusion around who the rule shooter is. Can't see that bottom part. As with most false flag operations, there is no clear motive. He happens to be connected to BlackRock, as he has been found in one of their commercials. The roof he was on is owned by a glass company with connections to Raytheon. This could be a stretch, but it's worth noting. The two eyewitness interviews I have seen did not give crisis actor vibes either.
Yeah,
And this is Justin's the number one guy to spot a crisis actor, or even just to err on the safe side, to assume someone might be a crisis actor. Justin's very critical mind. And he says, the redhead guy on the BBC seemed sincere, and so did the man Ivory Hecker interviewed. We have not been flooded with conflicting and questionable witness interviews. I also find it completely insane how long they knew about a man on a roof nearby, yet Trump was not rushed off stage before he was able to start shooting.
Right.
yeah, very fair enough. Because we can see who benefits, and we can see that it's all sorts of different factions, but the chaos is what they want, and it's the fear of, no, don't go out to the RNC, don't go see Trump speak, don't gather, don't come into, these people shouldn't gather in the streets anymore, because you got to worry that you're going to get killed. They want that fear to spread so that people stay home.
What does he have to say about the fist pumping photo?
Well, we'll get to it here. And the only problem I have with my theory is that if they really wanted him dead, why on earth did they send one sloppy kid to do the job? They used like 8 snipers in many locations to make certain JFK was killed. How do I explain how terrible the job was? That almost makes me want to explore the idea that it was some random crazy kid. Is it possible the police and Secret Service snipers were actually that slow to respond? Hard to believe. And then the last slide.
They didn't have the internet in 1963, right? You could get away with that.
Right.
You couldn't now.
And his little last slide here says, and for the record, this image bothers me. Not because it was captured, plenty of professional photographers stationed there, but because Secret Service let him expose himself during an assassination attempt. How is that possible?
Yeah, and let's have a look at them. I mean, it's like a Jenny Craig, it's like a Jenny Craig meetup. It's like women that are trying to slim down, half of the team. It's like, what's going on? And then when they get him in the car, they're fumbling, getting their handgun out and dropping it and putting it back and trying to look cool. Like, what would the team look like? There's a couple of like professionals in there, sure, but there's a lot of people that obviously didn't know what they were doing. They were so scared that they were cowering away, hiding, and not protecting him. So, and there's also people, there's all these DEI memes about it. But it's lots of things can be true at the same time. And we can see actual evidence of Trump's Secret Service detail being underfunded, being purposefully weakened, disarmed. When he is asking again and again for more funding and more protection, they just say no. And you can see this corruption inside the Secret Service, details. They're not working for the flag. They're not working for the good of the, office. They're corrupted.
That corresponds well with the rest of society, though. I mean, that's pretty much the quality of almost every employee in America right now.
Yeah. There's a rot in pretty much every, it's like infrastructure. It's like all these bridges, they're about to come down any minute. It's the same with institutions and government bodies and stuff like that. They're just hanging on by a thread. But especially this one, they needed a sloppy team, right?
What's concerning to me about this is the amount of people in the chat saying
that it was
like that we're gatekeeping, or that you guys are gatekeeping or not touching on certain things, but I've yet to see a single comment providing any information at all.
Yeah. What are we not talking about? What are we too afraid to talk about? I
Another
would
concern.
like. Sorry, you
Go
go.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
I
you guys are just rookies. Okay, rookie move here. Okay, you don't acknowledge the two, losers in their mom's basement.
There was a
Yeah,
lot more
but
earlier, but
stomp,
I
I didn't get
just
to
want
say
to
it.
stomping on the
hear.
keyboard.
I want to hear someone lay out an actual, like, plausible. Okay, this is what happens, and this is how it was a staged theatrical stunt. I would like them to explain everything that happened. I would like them to explain all of the witnesses that were watching everything happen, and how Secret Service was like. No
Sleepy
one's been
Joe,
able
come
to
call
do
in.
that.
Sleepy Joe, come call in.
There was a lot more people doing it earlier, but
Yeah. I mean, because it's easy. It's like you said, Longo. It's this like, oh, you haven't figured it out yet. Oh, you're so earnest. You're so gullible. Oh, once you get up to my level, you'll see it's all fake. And I mean, that you can keep going with that, where you can say everything's a simulation. You get into archaics land, right? It's stupid where that goes, and it actually puts you in a vulnerable state, because then you're blind to the actual risks, the actual nefarious elements of this world.
Yeah, it's the brain shut off valve that these people just, as soon as they're in the presence of someone who's smarter, or dare I say, more critical, or just less terrified by life, is probably the most triggering thing, is seeing
They
people
can
who aren't in the same state of terror as you.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, and by the way, there's the chat. There's the link,
Call
Sleepy
in.
Joe, if you'd like to call in.
break it down for us.
Anyone would like to address a topic that you think we might not be touching on, feel free to call in and let us know. But we're also not going to waste our valued guest Robert Phoenix here's time, and we're going to get through the chart. But Sleepy Joe, you're welcome to call in if you have a particular issue. Call in, we'll hear it out. Full transparency on this channel. Maybe you guys are a little dazed, messing around on those Blue Chew, Manscaped, Dude Wipe, Fap Kit, Truther channels. This isn't a Dude Wipe, Blue Chew, Fap Kit, Mom's Basement Fap Kit conspiracy theorist show. We eat oranges here. Okay, our chakras are turned on, and we're not afraid to have faith.
You're also openly saying that it was orchestrated and talking about conspiracy things, which makes absolutely no sense why people are saying that you're gatekeeping while that's taking place.
Guys, if you knew me when I was 18 years old, I was forcing all of my friends to watch Synagogue of Satan. At 18 years old, I was the hardest core conspiracy theory of the conspiracy theory. I've been there. If we want to get into patronizing, I can patronize you all I want, because I probably knew that. I probably knew that conspiracy theory before you. So just pop a couple Blue Chews, go hit the Manscaped, and you throw in a couple Dude Wipes to clean the whole mess up. But we keep it fresh on this channel. We're not afraid of normie talking points. Whatever, fucking suck my balls.
Just because nothing like very violent and wild has happened in the West, or in these, we've had a long time of safety. There's a lot of more violence in the 60s and stuff like this. We're used to things like nothing ever happening, right? This isn't out of the realms of possibility here. We're not saying it's like there wasn't an alien that landed, this is like very possible to do this. I don't know why people have to push that it's fake, because Trump got a good election shot out of it, and maybe they think that anyone that says it's real is just desperate for Trump to be elected.
That's one of the weakest arguments, in my opinion, is the photo. I mean, you have hundreds of cameras there. Of course, there's going to be a photo of what happened, and one of those photos just happens to be good. I mean, is that so out of the question for that to happen?
Yeah.
With hundreds of cameras rolling during the event. I mean,
and
that
Trump
argument argument alone is just so concerning to me, seeing that all over the place.
Yeah, people are saying, "Oh, there was crowd behind him. Why is the sky blue?" It's the angle. You're shooting from the floor to a stage. This blue sky, it's like the stupidest arguments. But also like Trump with the the fist and everything like that, he always has to appear strong and triumphant. He can never. That's why he wanted to grab his shoe as well. Like he's not going to cower. He doesn't show that. That's everything about him. That's why he's been so successful, or maybe that's why he's still alive. He cannot let himself, especially not in front of hundreds of people, be like a cowering little scared chicken, you know?
Hey, Sleepy Joe, you pretended that we blocked you. We didn't block you. Maybe
Victim mentality.
Maybe the reception's just a little spotty down there in your mom's basement. But there's the link. There's the link. You can join in. We will hear you out. We'll hear the timbre of your voice. Let's hear it. I'm wagering probably overweight. Probably ugly. Probably fuck ugly. And probably doesn't have anything interesting to say. But when you're calling things fake and calling people agents, that's easy. That's easy to pump out. That's easy to type out quick.
It's easy. That's
Come
the
join
point.
in. Sleepy Joe, you're invited. We all heard it. You're not blocked. So you join, you'll have an ounce of respect. You don't join, you're just a little rat. This is what happens. This is what always happens. Trying to have a good show in my office. What's that in the garage? What is that? What's that? Tin? Trash bag getting bitten into? Run over to my garage. Bust open the door. Flash the light. And what's that? Oh, Sleepy Joe. Little rat scurries off in the corner of my garage. And I say, come back here, little rat. Let's let you speak for yourself. And he just scurries off to the next neighborhood and just, come on, Sleepy Joe. Don't be the little rat that I never get a good look at when I finally go run to the next room to get a look at him. Let's see ya. Let's get a good look at you.
Big up, Sleepy Joe. All right, let's move on to these charts so we can start
Yeah.
talking about actual conspiracies afterwards and
Right.
possibilities of why they may have orchestrated it.
Yeah. Who's behind it?
Toads, we got some links here. I'm going to open the first link. This looks like it's on X. You want to do this through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the best way to do it, I think.
Looks like the page doesn't exist. It's telling me.
All right, hold on. Let's do this.
Here, we got the other one. Donald Trump we've got Donald Trump.
Let's start with that one, and I'll reload the Crooks Trump. So you can start with that one. The Crooks Trump is I had never seen this before tonight. So this is completely new and revelatory territory for me. So let me do this. Let me rename this.
Crooks Trump, Sykes Pico. Give me 1 second, guys.
Let me do this. And I'm gonna put it up here, and I'll put it in the chat. All right. As they say in the business, this is the money shot right here. This is the money shot. All right. There. Okay, so let's talk about the Trump chart first, because a lot of people aren't aware of sort of the factors here. So I don't know if you can scroll up a little bit longer and get more of the chart, but we go the other way. I'd go the other way if you can. Right there. Okay, so what's really important to take note of here are these two planets. This is Uranus and this is Mars, and they're conjunct in Taurus. Now, Trump's midheaven, in the midheaven is the point of contact with the world at large, right? So Trump is a 10th house person, So he's a very public person. But the midheaven is in the sign of Taurus, and it is conjunct fixed star Algol. So Algol is also
Al
called the
Ghul.
Medusa. That's
Yeah,
right.
we've got to throw that
Also-
in there because Trump is
alcohol.
famously. Yep.
We get alcohol from the world algol, because when you drink too much alcohol, you lose your head. Right. It's also connected to lynchings and decapitations. So one of the more interesting symbols of Trump's midheaven occurred very early in his presidency, where Kathy Griffin walked around with the decapitated head of Donald Trump. Right. That was clearly a symbol of Algol on his midheaven. So when we have and we've been talking about this on my channel for months, with this Uranus Mars conjunction coming up on his midheaven, right? So that's going to be in the public, right? In the public sphere. And Algol is from the neck up and from the neck down. So, but you're going to be dealing mostly with the throat area. And when you look at Trump in those pictures, you can see the blood coming down from his right ear, right? And then it gets down into this part of his neck, which is red and inflamed, right? So it almost looks as if the blood is coming in this direction, like somebody is slitting his throat. But if you also look at his ascendant, which is in Leo, right? So we have Mars here, and he has Mars at 26 degrees. That's what I talked about when he popped up, right? And he does the fist. Like, if you're going to have Mars in your ascendant, that's what you're going to do. And it's one of the things that makes Trump. He's aggressive. He is antagonistic, right? He pushes people's buttons. That's Mars. He's not a Venusian guy. If he had Venus on his ascendant, he'd come up and give the peace sign, right? But that's not how he's wired. So if you look at where Uranus transiting and Mars transiting, what they're doing is they're squaring his Mars. So that is violence, right? So the ascendant is also the head of the chart, right? So one of the things that Leo is known for is their hair. So even though Trump doesn't have long hair, he has theatrical hair, right? He has trademark hair. So when we were looking at this for a long time, it's like this, okay, here we go. It's this moment between July 12th and July 17th, where this Mars-Uranus conjunction is going to put Trump at the greatest risk, right? And there it is. It's happening. Like, we can see it astrologically. By the way, the other entity that this transit affects is Israel, because Israel has its sun at 23 degrees or 24 degrees Taurus, right? And last night on the show, I said, well, it looks like Israel's gotten out of this transit because they're negotiating this this treaty or whatever with Hamas. And then today I woke up and I read that Netanyahu has said no to it, right? So keep your eye on Israel over the next 2 days, because they're another part of this story, not directly related, but this transit affects them, right? And Trump is like Israel's sun is right up on Trump's midheaven, right? Like, they play a huge role in the guy's chart. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And then Israel has their Mars at 27 degrees. So their Mars is the same degrees as Trump's, right? So they also have their Mars on Trump's ascendant. So it's a really complicated astrological relationship he has with Israel. But we saw the first shot, right? The first shot in this conjunction go off on Saturday. And make no mistake about it, right? Like, we were talking about it for months. Last week, I went into a whole kind of dive on presidents and their assassinations.
Yeah.
We looked at Ford 2 times within 3 weeks in 1975. We looked at the Reagan assassination, which took place, I think, 64 days after it was elected in March. So we were talking about these assassinations. And earlier last week, I did a show on Trump as Hitler, right? And I actually used this picture of Trump as Hitler And I talked about how they're front loading all of this propaganda and angst and violence on Trump, right? Like they're loading the cannon. And it's the same way that they use those movies, The Purge, to basically load the cannon for the summer of George Floyd, right?
Yeah.
So what happened then is like you have all these like celluloid memories that are triggering people, you know, and how many people saw what 5 or 6 versions of The Purge? Plenty, right? So they're doing the same thing with Trump so that somebody like Thomas Matthew Crooks can come along and theoretically be a William Patsy. If it's not him, you know, there's plenty of fish in the sea. So they've been priming this for a long time with their invective, with their accusations of Hitler, right? They're gonna, you know, they're gonna get a Thomas Matthew Crooks who will bite, right? So, you know, this is the moment where it would all go down, right? This is the moment when these aspects would literally hit Trump's chart. And when you get a chance, you got to go to this synergy chart or synastry chart with
Yes.
Crooks and Trump.
Yes.
And you will see his fingerprints all over this event.
Yep. I'm going to switch over to it. I just want to make sure we're not going way over the average Joe's head here. So we're looking right now at the chart of the happening itself. When the shot rang out, this is 6:11 p.m. And yes, we should note that. That's, you know, 9/11 upside down.
Right.
God can author coincidences too, guys, by the way. Right. Every time we see a fractal relationship between numbers, why automatically associate it with, you know, some Illuminati script? It always can be. I'm with you on that with 9/11 and such. But yeah, it's almost like there has to be a new word. We have to create a word for real life apologetics. Like convincing people that life is real needs its own name, you know, needs its own word and title.
Reality apologists. Yeah.
So this is the chart of when it happened. And there's a couple things that jump out to me. You've got Sagittarius on the ascendant. Sharpshooter much? Sharpshooting? The sniper? The bullseye?
Yeah. Right.
Simo Hauya, the most deadliest sniper of all time, something like 500 kills. He was a Sagittarius. Sagittarius, my friend who was a Sagittarius when I was growing up in camp was the best sniper at our camp, you know, rifleman, and I was the best archer in my class. So Sagittarius, marksman. People think of the bow and the centaur. It also rules marksmanship, and the centaur is the center, the bullseye, right? Yes, the Finnish guy. Now Sagittarius on the ascendant kind of sets the stage, right, for about that half hour in either direction, or I guess it's 2 hours in total. The stage was set for marksmanship, right? That jumps out to me. Whenever you read a birth chart, you start right off over there at the ascendant. You know, most people do at least. And the ascendant right there is setting the stage. Nothing moves faster than the ascendant. So the moon moves quick. The ascendant is a constant rate. So in 2 hours, and in an hour in either direction, this is going to change to Scorpio or Capricorn. So for these 2 hours, 2-hour window, Sagittarius was on the ascendant. The other thing that jumps out to me is the Mars-Uranus conjunction.
Right.
I mean, that's big, especially when you look at the Mars in Trump's chart and the shooter's chart, like Robert was saying. So Mars-Uranus conjunction. Well, what is Mars? Mars, just think of the gods. You know, maybe you don't know astrology that well, or, you know, we're just approaching birth charts. You can think of mythology. The gods are the gods of mythology. You know, their attributes are what those gods are associated with. So you got Mars, the god of war, god of aggression, battle, fight, attack, among other things, masculinity. And you've got Uranus. Uranus could be considered the revolutionary, the rebel, right? The genius, the new idea, the new way, the new age, especially this age, coming age, approaching age. So Uranus, Mars conjunct, that's what grabs my eye. Another thing that grabs my eye, Jupiter on the descendant. The good is, the planet that rules good, like the Jedi, the Force, the good side is at its weakest spot of the chart, is at that descendant right there. Jupiter's falling, right? It's almost like Jesus is taking a knee or something like that. It's Jupiter's just about to peek over the horizon. It's like you're walking out the door. You don't expect a shot to go off right behind you. Jupiter's just about to peek over. And then the other thing that jumps out to me would be 3 planets in the 8th house. 8th house rules assassination. It rules death, sudden death, malicious death, and it rules the assassin. The word assassination is ruled by Scorpio in the 8th house because it has the word ass in it twice. Scorpio rules that too. And it has the word nation in it, to be born, like a natal chart, native. That's Scorpio, Scorpionic too. It means to swim in other languages, nadar. So the 8th house is all about assassination. Go look at JFK's chart. I think Robert might use a different chart than me on the JFK, but either way you look at it, he either has 3 houses in the 8th house or 4 houses in the 8th house. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, planets. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Sorry. Planets.
He's heavily 8th house. But the other thing too about Uranus and Mars, right? Like the order of the planets matters. So Uranus is in front of Mars versus Mars being in front of Uranus, right? So with Uranus, you get chaos, and then you have violence that follows the chaos. Now, one could make a case here astrologically that if they wanted to kill Trump, they would have had Mars in front of Uranus because it would have been more focused, right? It would have been much more deadly in a lot of ways. So what did we see yesterday? We saw chaos, right? So the chaos actually entered into the equation of the whole thing, which probably made this Mars square harder to pull off.
Well, that's fascinating because you have to think if someone did orchestrate this, they probably are aware of what you're describing. So they deliberately chose that potentially.
Yep. We've also got Pluto opposing the Sun and Venus.
The Venus opposition is bigger. It's a bigger opposition than the Sun. It is opposing the Sun. It's 9 degrees, 10 degrees almost. But the Venus opposition is tight, right? Venus-Pluto opposition. And that Venus is in Trump's 12th house, very close to his true node. There's a lot going on in this event in Trump's 12th house. You don't see it here, but if you have Trump's chart, you would see it. But yeah, the Venus-Pluto opposition is big. In astrology, that's called the Widowmaker, by the way. And it's not uncommon for women who have this in their chart to go through husbands, either through divorce or death.
There was a husband who died on that day, right? The spectator who died was there with his family.
There's the Widowmaker. There's the Widowmaker. Yep.
Wow. And let's see. That's the chart of the event, guys. So now we're going to go back to the chart that Robert prepped for us. This is the synastry between the shooter and Trump. Donald, right?
Yep.
So the outer, which one's outer, which one's inner for people?
The outer is crooks.
Okay, so the outer ring here is the shooter, crooks. The inner ring is Trump. So there's 2. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see it, but here. there's two birth charts
Well,
superimposed right
That's
now.
not it.
That's
That's the
not it?
chart. No, but let's just take a look at this chart quickly, though.
Okay. my
This
bad.
is the chart of the moment which you brought up,
Okay.
and so this is what's impacting Trump, right? This is the 12th house stuff that I was talking about.
Whoa, Robert, if I may, someone just
Yeah.
hit us with a big comment right here. Donald Trump was saying, look at the chart right
Right, he was
before he
saying look
got
at the
shot.
chart. Yeah.
Whoa. Good comment. Somewhere in time. Good comment on that. He said, look
Yeah.
at the chart right before the bullet went off.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Sorry.
you can see Vesta on his Pluto, right? And then you can see Neptune on Vesta. So this is Pluto's house right here. And then this is Neptune's house over here. And Vesta has a lot to do with like the end of your life and sort of the conditions of the end of your life. It's related to the Vestal Virgin or the crone. So Vesta, Trump is having literally with transiting Vesta and Neptune, like these are ongoing transits that take a while, right? But on this day, they took on a very specific meaning. And to your point, Longo, about the 8th house being connected with assassinations. So here's Neptune. And what are we doing? We're trying to kind of, put the high beams on through the fog to try to understand what's going on here. Well, it's going to be a little tricky with Neptune, right? But nonetheless, Neptune also represents deep spirituality. It represents the soul. It represents the afterlife, right? It represents where we come from. And where we, when we enter the chart, we're coming out of the 12th house and we're moving into the first house. So Neptune is really important here. And then Vesta on his Pluto. Pluto is the planet, of course, of death, termination, and rebirth. So he's having these really interesting transits like at this time in his life. And if this guy was going to get in touch with a deeper version of God, it would come through transits like this. By the way, Barron Trump is at he's 29 Pisces, so he's right on Trump's Vesta. So Trump sees him as like the true heir to everything that he's going to do. Right? It's not Don Jr., it's not Eric, it's not Ivanka, it's Barron, because Barron's on his Vesta, and the 8th house is legacy. Right? So Barron Trump will play a very interesting role in the years to come. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys so you understand the importance of that.
Is there a dual meaning in astrology to Vesta? Because Hestia is usually associated with the hearth fire or the eternal flame, which is a symbol.
It is
for,
the
like,
eternal
life
flame.
force.
Absolutely. It is the eternal flame. And it's like the eternal flame flickering back to you from the end of your existence. Right? You're absolutely right. And it even looks like a flame, doesn't it? Like, look at it. It looks like a votive with this flame in the center. Also, we also get the word investment, like it's connected to Vesta, right? And so literally Vesta represents investing in your future as well, right? Like word shows up in your chart, shows that's where your investment is. So with Trump, his investment is obviously Barron because his sun is right there on his Vesta. But yeah, it is like this eternal flame that flickers back from the end. Yeah.
I think you could also see his investment in the future with his faith, because like you were kind of hinting on at the beginning of the show, after this happened, he went through a string of emotions and then he kind of got up and he was having like a realization that his mortality is an actual thing and he needs to start worrying about. But instead of being scared in that moment, he was triumphant and he was calling for people to fight. And people have been saying that this could be a catalyst for him to become closer to God or become more of like Christian type figure. So maybe this could be a symbol for that as well.
He's always danced around that, right? Like there's that video of him where he's being interviewed by some pastor, and the pastor says, have you ever gotten on your knees and repented? And Trump kind of danced around it, and he talked about his relationship with Norman Vincent Peale and his relation with Christianity, but he never really answered the question, right? He never answered the question. Well, by God, he was on his knees on Saturday, wasn't he? Right?
Yeah. And that's what he's claimed now. That's what he's saying, that he believes he was saved by God, and he's he believed it was a religious experience that he had up there. And I mean, his actions will tell, and that would be amazing.
What's up, Spencer?
Hey, Spence.
What's up, Spence?
Hey, everybody.
How are
Everybody,
you?
Spencer.
pleasure to be back, Mr. Phoenix. First time, pleasure. Go ahead, boys. Keep rolling. I'm listening. Call me up when you want me.
Amazing connections in the charts there.
Well,
Looks
if
like
if you can find that other one with Crooks, man, I mean, that's just got the greasy fingerprints all over it.
Okay.
Yeah, incredible connections in the charts here. Looks like Sleepy Joe doesn't have a webcam. He's just going to stay in the chat there, but he does have many things to share, many things to offer.
So
But,
while we're waiting on this Crooks chart, Spencer, what do you think? Staged or real or
Oh, here we go.
orchestrated?
Oh, you guys know what I
Oh,
think.
unless you're still going, Robert, are you finished?
No,
This
no,
chart.
go ahead.
We're going to get back to the other chart too, but yeah, Spence, lay it on us.
Lay it on you. As an adult, I have to ask questions. I think the logistics of what we saw, everybody knows is pretty silly. Do I think we could have a kid on a roof that has been given certain types of mental medications for mental illness and been groomed and coached to be there as a patsy? Sure. That's a pretty exotic scenario that's not all uncommon. Reminds me of Adam Lanza, as well as the photos and all that, yada, yada. Inside job, it would have to be. Everything else is absolutely ridiculous to not think so. Yeah, I struggle. I struggle with all of it. And considering, the 9 a.m. tea time, the 7 p.m. shooting, hold on, let me check my shoes. I love the picture. I love the show. I love the Donald Trump show, but I'm not a fanboy. So when I see mass shootings, you guys got to know 10 years ago, I was obsessed as a kid, more than 10 years ago, with mass shootings in particular. Like, I would go to the Department of Homeland Security website and I would apply to be an actor for active shooter training drills. So I know that the Charleston church shooting was on the exact same time as an active shooter training drill on the Department of Homeland Security website because I applied to be an actor in it. So when people tell me that, like, I'm crazy for saying these things, they don't know my history with applying for jobs through Craigslist to be an actor in a lot of staged active shooter training drills that turned out to, in fact, be real events on the television. So am I going to lose my mind and just be like, it couldn't be possible with Trump? No, I do think I voted for Trump. I'm going to vote for him again. I always will if I have the opportunity, just because I like the way he does business. And that's what a president is. They're the president of a corporation. And so when it comes to this event, I think everybody knows me well enough to know that I don't buy anything until I see hard evidence. Hard evidence. You're not giving me a CGI image of space and getting me to bow down. So, that's where I stand, boys. Show me the real evidence. But I love the show. I think it fits. I think it's good for patriotism.
Long ago, I just uploaded it again. So
Is this it?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So okay, I want you guys to just pay attention to the outer chart is Thomas Matthew Crooks. So he's a Virgo, right? He's a Virgo. He's born on the 20th of September, right? That's
Where's
not all
Spence
that
go?
interesting.
Spence
It's not
dropped
all
out.
that interesting, right?
Yeah.
He also has in his natal chart a Mars-Uranus conjunction, right there. And I believe he's got Uranus in Aquarius and Mars. No, Uranus in Aquarius and Mars in Pisces. So he has the same conjunction, but it's not the same sign, but it is the same conjunction that's happening right up here on Trump's chart, right? So the 7th house is known as the house of open enemies. And what do we have here? We've got Uranus, Mars, right across from Trump's ascendant, right? So we have a Mars opposition with the Uranus-Mars conjunction. It almost aligns like in a perpendicular fashion with the shooting itself, right? Because remember, the ascendant is the head, right? It represents the head. So that Mars-Uranus conjunction is almost perpendicular to Trump's ascendant, which makes it almost perpendicular in the actual shooting that's going on. It's not quite completely perpendicular, but it's an opposition, and it's a major opposition, right? And the other thing is if you go back to that chart, you'll notice that Crooks has his true node in Taurus on Algol right up here on Trump's midheaven. So think of Trump's midheaven right there. Think of Mars Taurus, and there is Crooks's true node, right? So the true node is the true north in the chart. And whether or not he thought of this moment as his destiny in some ways, his chart is fulfilling his destiny, right? So now we're into really weird territory, right? Like where does the chart kind of stop, and where does the MK Ultra bleed through begin, right? Because his fingerprints are all over this chart.
Yeah.
So whether or not he's the only shooter, that's another question. But dude, right there, there.
Yeah, that's a big one, guys. On this, the straight horizontal line going through the middle of the chart, that's a big one.
Wow.
I also want to go back to the name, Thomas Matthew Crooks. I'm big into names, big into words, and the words almost always reveal the astrology behind a person too. Thomas means twin. That's a fact. Trump is a Gemini. He's a twin. When you go to Mar-a-Lago and look at Mar-a-Lago, on the main gate, on the entrance, there's a child, like a young boy, on a pole on one side and a boy on a pole on the other side. They're holding on to a pole. There are two twins on either side of the entrance, both on a pole. That's the bipolarity of Gemini. Trump knows, it's unconscious, but either way, I know he has astrologers in his family, but unconsciously, perhaps, he knows how to use his astrology as a totem, right? Like a crest, like Andrew Tate with his knight chess piece, the knight of the chessboard behind him, because he's a Sagittarius. Blah, blah, blah. Thomas Matthew Crooks. Thomas means Gemini. It also means whatever. Matthew can be interpreted as assassin, killer, slayer. Matanzas means massacre in Spanish, slaughter. Matthew is like you're mad, you know. That sounds like a stretch. It's not. It's the same root. So Matthew can be interpreted as meaning killer. Thomas Matthew Crooks. Everyone knows what Crooks means, but in terms of him potentially being a brother of Abraham, a son of Abraham, a Jew, as they say, I'm pretty iffy on that. It only looks like one article that some Indian lady wrote that is claiming that his family's Jewish. I don't necessarily see that in his face. And I'm usually pretty dang good at my Judar is impeccable. I grew up in Boca Raton, which is the mouth of the mouse, but it's really the belly of the beast when it comes to this stuff. So I know him when I see him. He didn't strike me as that, but he could just have some weird deformed face,
We lost Robert.
And
Guys, I got kicked out.
Phoenix out.
someone's hacking into the stream. Could
Getting
be,
DDoS.
So
Well,
Matthew-
apparently it's all astroturfed, right? Apparently you have the full weight of the deep state and CIA behind you with this stream, right? That's what That's what
African American rock is hacking the stream.
yeah.
I mean, we kind of an optimistic way to look at Matthew as well, as it means gift from God, and we were talking about earlier how Trump could be brought closer to his faith with this experience. So, I mean, that's another thing. Kind of stupid.
Yeah, some sort of divine prophecy. There's a lot of talk of that Revelations verse that was supposed to happen or something. I haven't looked too much into it. But yeah, while we figure out where Robert's gone, I mean, it's you have to admit that the whole thing is mysterious. There's still a fog of war that hasn't even settled, and it's not as though we have total access into it. You know, when you say solid proof, Spence, it's like that's what I want too. But it's, you know, we don't have the access that we might on matters pertaining to people that are not, you know, former presidents and president elects and stuff like that.
Robert, we lost you for a sec.
Shepard's
Yeah,
crook.
I had to duck out and come back in.
Didn't think about that one. It's a good
Nice. So, Robert, you're saying that you were kind of similar topics were fresh on you'd already been covering things that were somewhat related to a presidential assassination.
Yeah, man. Like we were
Leading
over
up
the
to-
target all week last week.
Nice.
Yeah.
And, you know, we took a few stops in a few other places. But one of the things that really got my attention were the amount of terror attacks that took place in the 1970s. And in 1975 alone, there were 53 terror attacks.
Whoa.
And so invariably, when you go to 1975, you run into the two Ford attempted assassinations, right? And then, you know, that led me into the Reagan assassination. And then earlier in the week, we were talking about, man, I always forget his name. It's the president that was killed in Buffalo at the Temple of Music. And he was shot by an anarchist, walked right up to him and put 2 bullets in his stomach. Very similar to Trump in a lot of ways. And
Taffner.
and the guy who did it was like, you know, all fired up by Emma Goldman and these anarchists and these communists, right? It was almost like, you know, he wasn't directly programmed, but he's
William McKinley.
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 And so he was indirectly programmed. And this happens all the time.
At
Right.
the World's Fair.
Communism.
He was killed at the World's Fair.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's so much programming in the world happening 24/7 that it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel with people, right? And you can just find sort of the right person, you know, on the right meds with the right programming, the wrong upbringing, and they're just ripe, right? They're just ripe for the picking. And so what our culture has done is, you know, if we live in an MK Ultra kind of culture, MK culture, which I think we do, by the way, right? Look at the impact on society that it's had, and look at the people that it's bred. So somebody like Crooks is, you know, would be uncommon for the world that we live in, right? It's like, what do you do when you find that person? How do you get them to take those next steps? You know, and I think Longo's completely right about this. It's a suicide mission. Like, there's no way out, right? So how do you flip that suicide switch in a person? Anyway, we were talking about McKinley. So this whole idea of the presidential assassination was really front and center. And then this idea that Trump was being compared to Hitler for the last 8 years, and you get enough propaganda pumped into people's brains like that, and look what happens, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where we were.
Another presidential comparison that isn't talked about a lot is Trump and Andrew Jackson. The media handled Trump originally in the 2016 election very similarly to how they handled Andrew Jackson back in the day, and he also had an assassination attempt against him.
And Lincoln as well, right? Wasn't the whole media pretty united in hating him at first or something?
Yeah.
Being
Well, people hated
they're
JFK too.
very critical.
Every
Why?
every Democrat today is like, oh, JFK, JFK. But even the Democrats hated
Yeah,
JFK in the 60s because he was not, singing their tune.
wasn't
Well,
playing
so-
ball.
Well, with Jackson, though, they called him the Lion, and they also called Trump the Lion as well. And they both were talking in their campaign originally about doing something about the banking systems.
Yeah. They're both
So
fighters.
Guys, currency.
I had this theory that is now off the table because of this. But my theory was that Trump and Biden would get to the finish, and I still think Biden went to the finish line. But we would have a contested election, right? And then there would be an extreme amount of chaos with a contested election. So it would go on for a period of time, and that more than likely we would have martial law. And in the event of martial law, the Speaker of the House would become president, which would be Mike Johnson, right? And I thought, okay, this is really what they're cooking up, because Mike Johnson was voted in unanimously by the Democrats. Like, they love him, right? And then if you go back and you look at, and there's a possibility, a slight possibility, that it still may happen, but I think the timeline has shifted. But if you look at Lincoln, when Lincoln's assassinated, who replaces Lincoln? It's Andrew Johnson. When Kennedy's assassinated, who replaces him? It's Lyndon Johnson. And then who do we have kind of waiting in the wings? The Speaker of the House. It's Mike Johnson. So I think there was some plan to, at some point, elevate Johnson through this like miasma of chaos. And maybe yesterday might have been part of that plan. Right? Maybe yesterday might have been part of that plan. And who knows, right? Like, all of a sudden something happens to Biden, there's a weird kind of glitch in Harris's legitimacy with her birth. Who's next in line? It's Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
So if you put it all together, like, we changed the timeline yesterday.
Absolutely.
Or Saturday. The timeline got changed.
Guys, I'd like to chime in on something real quick.
Go for it.
When it comes to currency, what does the panel think Lincoln was assassinated for? The real reason, main reason. There's always a meat and potatoes.
Uh-oh.
JFK, what's the meat and potatoes?
Can I tee off on this first, Spence?
How do you
Sure.
know what I'm going to say?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were asking us. That story, that question.
Was Abe Lincoln a bar member, British Accreditation Registry? Was he, in fact, an attorney? He shouldn't have been able to be the president, but he was. So this was the corporation we're talking about. Why was he assassinated? I believe greenbacks. Why was Kennedy really assassinated? Currency backed by our silver reserves. When you try to pull yourself away from the loan with interest, which comes from the IMF, which is Vatican banking, when we start talking private central banking that is not federal, any entity that has ever tried to create their own currency with actual reserves outside of, what was present at the time, they're the ones that got taken out. Greenbacks and silver. When those silver certificates came out, to me, just so you guys know, that is 100% why I believe those boys were assassinated, and why I'm still a fan of Trump, because I believe there's a good chance that Trump could be somebody that could change currency worldwide and bring it back to a collateral-based system that's not based off of us as collateral, as debt slaves, and the backing and the property of the United States corporation. Our money isn't printed out of thin air. It's printed off of the promise to pay, and we are the collateral. So I know a lot about that.
Wow.
That's kind of why I said
Sorry, Shem. I'd love to get into the Civil War. We also need to read some of these chats here.
Yep.
Because we got a lot of needy girlfriends in the chat, looks like. But no, just kidding. Chungus, it's my brother. $9.99. This is one that I think is hot on the minds. This mindset is totally one shared by most of your staged types, everything staged types. They tend to think like this. Chungus 500, thanks for the $9.99. I fear the reset is soon, and I'm not sure I have enough astronaut ice cream to last through the flood. What should I do? Well, persevere, hold tight, hoard as many Blue Chews, Dude Wipes, and landscaped razors as you can. You're going to need them. You're going to need them in the next life. Okay? Make sure you've got enough ammunition to mow down everyone in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's make sure you dig down deep enough to where when the sun scalds the earth, makes it absent of life, that you're deep enough down, you've got your lead paint, you'll be good to go. The earth will be a hash brown. You'll be good to go. So as long as you're A-okay for the pole shift, solar flare, EMP blast, that we all know it's coming. We all know it's coming. We're all experts on how impending this apocalypse is.
Yeah, just keep digging tunnels. Just get down in the tunnels. Works every time.
Hit us with a tip or super sticker or whatever if you want us to address your concerns. Fourth Emperor, orange. Vincent, about what? Jules, about the miracle we just witnessed. Vincent, the miracle you witnessed? Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction.
Right, the miracle you witnessed.
Right. Logan Legacy, thanks for the $4.99. Hey Longo, what cave entrance do you want to meet at? Agartha is waiting on us, my brother. Stay safe, my dude. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Fourth Emperor,
Duelists.
thanks for the $2. He wore a Demo Ranch shirt. Enemy is here to disarm.
Right.
Mad Rocksta, thanks for the 10.
New Zealand.
The 10 Kiwis.
Kiwis, yeah.
Super sticker. Appreciate it. Logan Legacy, another 99 cents. That one's for Thomas Matthew Crooks, I guess. Fourth Emperor, thanks for the $2. Trump had his Che Guevara moment. You mean that based Irish Chad who set things straight down in the, No, that Irish guy? You mean that Irish guy that every Mexican's got a T-shirt of? Listens to Rage Against the Machine one time, slaps an Irish guy on there, slaps the son of a wealthy Irish rebel military family on their T-shirt.
Jay was awesome.
Real communist, guys. And
wow.
Yeah, the Russian mercenary family, fight for hire, switching countries. Yeah, okay. Nobody sees through this, by the way. This is what, and just to, everyone else drop out the chat. Let me go off here, pat myself on the back. That's what real conspiracy theory looks like. Show me the family.
Yeah.
Point out the hypocrisies and what they say versus what their family's been doing for like 300 years. Don't just hit the brain shut off valve and be like, fake. Che Guevara, fake. Okay, whatever.
Dig into everything.
Browns Boy 23, thanks for the $2. Oh, this one's good. Shem, we got I heard Dan Mamheg was paid in shrimp to do it. That's
He loves his shrimps.
Santos Bonacci reference. Browns Boy 23. Rumor is the killer used LifeWave patches.
Oh man,
to get the job done. That's hilarious. Probably would have been more effective.
That's the thing no one's talking about.
Is what?
The LifeWave patches, how big of a role they played.
Yeah. Super sticker from Mad Rocksta again. Another one from him. Appreciate it. But Spence, I love what you brought up. Abraham Lincoln, what's the real motive there? Well, it just so happens, guys. Robert says he's been working on some related stuff, and then boom, this comes up. Well, I'm in the same boat. This past month, I haven't released anything for like 3 weeks to a month because I've been chipping away at a big, mega, old school conspiracy theory, fast food, KKK, everything. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken meets Eyes Wide Shut. as my one friend put it. Okay. It has a little something to do. I'm not going to ruin it at all. The Knights of the Golden Circle. Who's ever heard of the Knights of the Golden Circle? Well, they were the Confederate Freemasons, an unofficial offshoot of the Freemasons and Templars. They were behind the Lincoln assassination. They were doing a whole lot before that, but all of John Wilkes Booth and all of his co-conspirators were confirmed members of the KGC. All of the Buchanan administration, the cabinet which directly preceded the Lincoln presidential cabinet, all of the Buchanan administration were KGC. Albert Pike is alleged to have been a founder of the KGC. Jesse James was a confirmed member. Jefferson Davis was a member. A whole lot of Confederate VIPs were members. The KGC, their goal was to start a slave empire from the South, the Confederate South. They were just going to go farther south. Say, screw the North. We're just going to take over Mexico, Cuba, the Caribbean. Guys, Golden Circle. Golden Circle.
Oh, yeah, baby.
That's exactly what it was. My Fertile Crescent theories, that's the territory they were going after. From the tip of Florida to the tip of the Yucatan. Havana was going to be their capital. Cuba. This was going to be a slave empire that encompassed most of Latin America, and it was going to be ran by a bunch of Confederate slaveholders. Now, there's a whole lot to this that I don't want to reveal because it's about to be released, but let's just say when the Civil War ended, the KGC turned into the KKK. And you know me. I'm not one of these white supremacy boogeyman types. That's not our biggest problem right now. Okay, it's not what keeps me up at night. But this is real. This is a real deal instance of slaveholders trying to run a slave empire, and someone had to be their slaves. So it's not a race thing for me. But what happened? They became the KKK. That's a fact. The pointy hoods. Why the pointy hoods? Nobody knows. It's because the KGC wore helmets with a tipped helmets like the pointy German World War I helmets. They wore those in their rituals. Well, voila! When they started going outside and terrorizing people and out in public and such, they just started putting a sheet over their pointy tipped helmet. There you get the cone-shaped look. Over time, the helmet went away. KKK, KGC, they attempted to assassinate President Lincoln multiple times before the final assassination. They planned to assassinate him in Baltimore. They planned to kidnap him when he crossed a river. Multiple different attempts. And he simply wasn't there when they pulled the trigger. That he wasn't in the right spot at the right time. So they scrapped plans until they had a whole bunch of plans until all of a sudden John Wilkes Booth finds out Lincoln's going to be at his place of, where he works. And he just shows up, bypasses security because he's established actor there. Nobody suspected anything. And then he just got it over with very quick. That might have been some whole grand conspiracy. And by the way, that is a conspiracy. So if you're saying there's a conspiracy on top of the conspiracy, let's at least make sure we know about this layer first before we disregard it and say, well, that was fake too, whatever. That's what I'm working on. That's what's soon to come out, and very fitting. I hate to say it's unfortunate, but it's very fitting to what just happened. That's what I've been working on, was secret society behind the Lincoln assassination attempt. Expect that soon, guys. And fast food.
I have a comment about that. Don't you think that they probably could have done at least as good or a better job running Latin America than the Latin Americans have?
Yeah.
Well, it's
I mean,
interesting because
let's
we've
have a real
actually had
con-
a
let's have a
squad.
real con- let's have a real conversation about government in Latin America.
It's a great point because the Latin America said, you got to stay in America. Fast forward 100 years, they're flooding the Confederate South at a rate you've never seen before, right? All those. Oh, and by the way, Robert, to your point, their goals in Cuba, they achieved. Their goals in Nicaragua, they achieved. That's why Texas, Nicaragua, Cuba, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, all the Confederate South, and Nicaragua and Cuba all bear the Lone Star flag of the KGC and the OLS. It's the Star of Lucifer. It's the Venusian pentagram. It's the path of Venus's, grand cycle in the sky.
Right.
The
Yep.
5-petaled flower, the pentagram.
Right.
That's the Columbian star. So the third rank of the KGC was the Columbian star. And that is referencing the Order of the Lone Star, which is where you get the Republic of West Florida, the original Lone Star Republic. Then the Republic of Texas, founded by Floridians who were fighting off the Mexicans. Then you get your Burke or Burnett flag, Bonnie blue flag. It's the Lone Star on a blue background. It's the Luciferian Albert Pike style Lone Star Confederate Lucifer flag. And that's what the South went with. So even though the South lost the war, the KGC maintained control in most of the South because it wasn't just Southerners. There were Northerners who were KGC too. And the Democratic Party, this is the grand conspiracy. The Democratic Party has always been a slave-holding, democratic, more people equals more power. That's their mentality. Illegal or not, they don't care. Let's get our slaves to vote. They had that idea back before the Civil War, and then boom, they've been on that wavelength ever since. Democratic is demon crazy. Fela Kuti said it best. Demonstration of craze. Demo crazy, talking to the underworld. Demeter. Demo comes from Demeter, to demolition, to reduce to the ground.
Demos.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Colonel Sanders was a 33rd degree Mason.
Bingo. I don't want to reveal too much, but yeah, he was a 33rd. He was a 33rd Freemason. 11 herbs and spices. 11 herbs.
11.
You mean K, the 11th letter of the alphabet? K, 311, KKK, 11, 11, 11, 3 times 11, 33, KKK, KFC,
Holy moly.
KGC, crystals, White Castle. They used castles, not lodges. KGC, White Castle. Colonel Sanders only wore white the last 30 years of his life. 11
snappy dresser.
That's K. Checkers and rallies. Checkerboard. Well, that's racing. That's not Freemasonry. Guess again. Wendy's, founded by a Freemason. Her name wasn't even Wendy. Wendy means white circle in Welsh. Wendy means white circle in Welsh.
The Dave Thomas Foundation.
Colonel Sanders understudy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then now again, I don't want to reveal too much because it is
busted all over your conspiracy.
A couple of days here. But yes, Wendy's Dave Thomas, also a Freemason. Also, he worked under KFC. John Wayne Gacy, manager of multiple KFCs. His final meal before being executed, bucket of KFC. And what else we got? You've got
you lucky shits in the chat.
all the free. Yeah, if you made it this long, you guys get the spoilers. But Freemasons, fast food. This is all just ridiculous, right? It's all silly. Surely this couldn't be true. Well, I would recommend everyone out there go look up Kingsman 2 Golden Circle. The second second installation of the Kingsman movie. Kingsman franchise is called The Golden Circle, which features a crazy red-haired, pale-skinned antagonist named Poppy, who's supposed to be Wendy. She's modeled after Wendy, the red hair, blonde, fast food franchise. Sorry, red hair, pale skin. Poppy, the antagonist of this movie, she runs a diner hamburger franchise. She runs a hot dog stand, and she runs a Krispy Kreme style. Oh, Krispy Kreme, KK, spelled with a K for no reason. Okay. Crystals, one of America's oldest fast food chains, spelled with a K for no reason, named Crystals because the wife of the owner was a crystal gazer who got the idea after staring into a crystal ball. Spelled with a K for no reason, just to give it a twist, they say. So
Yeah.
K, K, K. Everywhere you look in fast food, it's K this, K that. Popeyes, yeah. Church's Chicken, go look at their logo for me. The Golden Circle and the Lone Star. Case closed. Church's Chicken. Golden Circle and the Lone Star. This is all, I'm blowing the lid off the fast food industry. We all knew it was bad. Now we're going to find
There's so
out how
much.
it's, now we're going to find out how it's slaveholder food.
Loaded.
Made by slaveholders for slaves. You work there, you're a slave. You eat there, you're a slave.
Company mine.
The prisoner chains became the fast food chains. That's the new slavery.
Oh, dude, this is so good.
Boom. Wow.
McDonald's is actually the least implicated in this whole thing.
The Book of Magic.
I have not found anything connecting McDonald's to this, which shocks me. It's all the
Ray
other
Kroc was not a Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. not a
Wow.
Mason.
So Wendy's is KFC, Wendy's, and White Castle are the big ones. And I'll toss you one last one because there's so much good stuff coming in this video, guys. It's a gravy overload. All these Masons starting fast food chains with the same color scheme as the KGC, Templars, and KKK. Well, Masons getting into the burger industry. Sounds silly.
No.
Sounds weird, right?
Nope.
Why does Wendy's use square patties? Why does White Castle use square patties? Why does squaring the circle?
Ballroom dancing.
Now I'll take my schizo crown now, please. Crown me crown prince of Schizo land
Nah,
because I think I took the gig.
don't give up on McDonald's.
Wow.
Book of Magic, 13th letter. I mean, M&Ms. Don't give up on July 13th. We had a wisp of the ear. There's a. Did you see the Book of Magic that supposedly the arches came from? Have you seen that?
Golden Arches, Golden Corral. Good comments. No, Spence, I don't think so.
I think it's worth not just giving up on it. Could be the ultimate, and we're not seeing it yet.
Yeah. But this one goes deep, guys. Watch the movie if you want to see. They literally, in the movie Kingsman Golden Circle, they traveled to Kentucky, where the KGC was founded, where KFC was founded, to infiltrate this like American Secret Service. It's like a secret service. And then they have to infiltrate this, Poppy character. She's the biggest drug lord in the world, and she simultaneously runs a burger franchise, a hot dog chain, and a donut, like Krispy Kreme knockoff. She runs those simultaneously, and in the movie, she puts human meat into her hamburgers, sedatives into her other products, and nanotechnology into her other products.
Yep.
And it's called Kingsman, the Golden Circle. They go to Kentucky to infiltrate the Golden Circle, and that's the bad girl. Wendy's knockoff. Every fast food just about is implicated in this. You guys will see it. It's very funny.
Can you cover it like you
Wow.
did the orange juice live? Could you cover all the fast foods like after your debut for this, and we'll just go over them together and catch what we didn't catch as like a chat group?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I'll definitely do a live breakdown too, because this is a big one. Like the elephant video, there's so much to to tear off. But
Wow, that's huge.
and who knows? The KGC might have had a hand in this assassination attempt. They might have had a hand in. It's been said that the KKK, that the last important thing they ever did was take part in the JFK assassination.
Right.
Because who'd they bring in? Mr. Race mixing, Mr. Racial rigidity, Mr. Racial everything, right? LBJ,
Mr. Welfare.
right? Whoever came after Kennedy was their number one guy as far as keeping the Democratic plantation system
Absolutely.
alive. So,
And that's what it's key bono. It's who benefits. We have to, for this, we have to be looking at that too. I mean, that's really crucial here. And it's like, okay, who benefits from it all being fake? Is it, do people think that the Trump campaign desperately needed help getting reelected against Biden? It was already a shoo-in, right? So say it's fake. People are like, oh no, it's fake because it's a stunt to make sure that he gets elected, yada yada. It wasn't needed, So it's like with who benefits of if it's a real movement that's behind trying to kill him. Okay, we can look at the different factions there, but the question of if it's fake, who benefits is interesting, right?
I felt election stagnancy. If I drive in any direction right now, there's not a single sign, Jimmy. The last election, if I drove in any direction, there was endless signs. It's the most stagnant, eerie election year of all time. I'm sure everybody on the panel, including the oldest to the youngest. So
people don't have faith in the integrity of it.
I think the election just got turned. We need to turn this on. Hold on, everyone's asleep. But just so you guys know, even though I'm the ultimate conspiracy theorist, I think the astrology plays a bigger role than the actual event, whether it was real or fake or staged, because I think types of energies play. I think they have to play off of the planetary energies. The Saturnian overlords, they utilize that energy because they don't have the light. They aren't light bearers. They aren't walking. They aren't of the light. They really have to utilize these energies. So all of their scripts and narratives follow along with what you guys talk about. So if I say, I don't think Trump really got shot in the air, that could piss you guys off. But just know that I am actually clued in to what you guys are saying, because I think understanding scripts of what happened, is happening, and is going to happen is a lot easier to figure out when you follow the astrology rather than the event and the whole red shift, blue shift.
Yeah.
It's minutia to me. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for an overview, an overhead bird's kind of view of everything instead.
Because we know they pay attention to the astrology.
Can I ask you guys this? You're bringing up a good point with the nobody's acting like an election this past couple months. But what about this? This is one of the things I noticed about the shooting, and I could be wrong. Haven't been in a. I was at January 6th, so I don't know if I've ever said that online.
You did twice.
I was at January 6th, and someone died there. I didn't see it, but you could feel the how serious things were in the air, but I haven't been in an active shooting. But you guys tell me what you think. Something that did strike me as strange was I've seen malls where it sounded like a gun went off and 300 people go trampling one direction, and multiple people die because they got trampled. And a gun didn't even go off.
I got you.
I've seen that with my own eyes, where someone thought a gun went off, and every person in sight went in one direction or every direction until they were exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that was just like, a backpack falling and knocking something over or something.
Teenagers playing.
You see it in malls, firecrackers. We've all seen movies or a video where something happens at the mall and everyone freaks out and there was no shooter at all. Well, something that I do notice that did strike me as odd with this was that, granted, they're all in bleachers. Granted, I don't know what the climate was there, the mood.
Small
But
rally.
it seemed like everyone was just standing around. And even though shots were ringing out, I don't know if there were places, if there was, a direction you could just run if you wanted to, or if they were just even keeping people in their seats or whatever. But
Way.
it didn't look like as much panic as I'd expect. It didn't look like everyone taking off. It looked like everyone was waiting to see what would happen.
They thought it was firecrackers.
That
Right.
or nobody even knew it was a shooting. Some people did, but
Yeah.
to me, it
some
struck
people.
me as why weren't it? Yeah, I would expect to see shots go off, and then everyone's moving and panicking, and they don't stop until all the bleachers are empty. To me, it
But-
looked like. Sorry,
No, sorry, you finish.
that's all. I don't even.
Well, would
have a point.
people run
Just-
into, if they don't know where the gunman is? Would they just run out into the open?
Yes.
You know, like, I mean, sure,
Yes.
there's a fight or flight response. I've never been in that situation, and maybe that is what you do. But I feel as though just getting down as low as possible and trying to get behind something and be still would be, I mean, what a lot of them would gravitate towards.
Well, it takes a minute.
Right. Jason Aldean wasn't playing though.
a perfect
That's
place
why.
a perfect place to stage an event like this would be a movie theater, for example. You have 20 theaters. You have 7 theaters actually showing film. What you have is you have rounds go off in an empty theater next to people. I was there. I heard it. I was there. It was real. What they did, Aurora, Colorado, Lafayette, Louisiana, and all of a sudden there's 20 film crews sitting out front, and the local police chief is in on the whole thing, and you have
Yeah.
film crews ready, getting everybody running out of the building. So you're telling me all the action cameras have everyone sprinting out of the building, and they were there, guys. That's how you get the best interviews. That's an example of how people will be running if they don't even see it, and they saw it, and it was so real because they were there. But guess what? Nobody ever actually saw it, and nobody ever got hit. And then the crisis actor shit comes in, and then it's all just silly.
I
you
was
think
in
someone
Lafayette.
got
I was
hit?
in Lafayette the night they had that shooting. By the way,
Say that again?
I was in Lafayette the night they had that shooting.
Really?
Yeah, I was with my son's travel ball team, and we're playing a game, and we're just hearing all these sirens going off. Like, what the hell is going on here? And then the next thing you know, we find out that there's a shooting, and then all these like government people are staying at the hotel that we're in. Right.
Oh, busted. I love it.
It was really weird, really weird. My feeling. Okay, so there are 2 points about this. First of all, the shots sounded weird, right?
Yeah.
When I first heard them,
Yeah.
I thought this is like a 22. This is what I'm hearing. Right now, he could have had a suppressor on the rifle, which would have made a difference. But I also feel like people have they've either gone to Trump rallies or they've experienced Trump rallies vicariously, and they're almost always safe, right? There's hardly any tension, hardly any chaos, right?
that.
So when something like that happens, I think people go into kind of a shock mode, right? Like they don't really know what to think or what to expect, right? And I've seen this with people. Like something will happen, something will break like their fourth wall, and they're almost like a deer in the headlights in some ways because they have no experience to deal with whatever it is that they're processing in that moment.
Sure.
So I feel like some of that is at play. But then there's also some strange things going on with people kind of in the background as well, right? And that Vincent Fusco guy was there. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. Hat.
Yeah.
Long hair.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
he's so and so dressed up. Lady with the iPhone. Yeah.
Right. So
shouting.
So a friend of mine kept thinking about him. She said, "Who is this guy?" I told her who he was, and she said, "I woke up this morning with the weirdest feeling." She said, "I think he's a time traveler." and I'm like, "Why?" Because he acted as if he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, it's like he was watching it like the play. Like, yeah, it's almost like he was a play-by-play analyzer.
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
no reaction, just chilling, but knowing what was going to happen, knowing what was happening, and knowing what was going to happen. knowing
Exactly.
he knew
Exactly.
all time. He knew.
Yeah. And that's just a strange anomaly, right? Like, who is this guy anyway? And how did he start showing up, right? I don't know. It's a left field kind of thing, but you just watch him. He's not acting like everybody else.
Mm.
And he's not green screen. We know that because eventually he starts interacting with other people.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like he was just in some isolated place and they kind of beamed him in. It's just another one of these oddities of this event.
Well, if you're a time traveler, so I'm not a time traveler guy, but if you are, and people in the chat are, the way he turns his head, that's the one thing that I actually like that opposes my stance is a little bit like this and it's over. The way he turns his head, the abruptness of how he turns it and the supposed shot here, it's like, okay, I love that for all my time travelers. It's like, hey, that's a huge moment for a lot of people.
You mean when Trump turns his head or Vincent?
Yeah. Imagine, dude, the split second, like his head was facing one direction, right? He was like this at a 45-degree angle, but he went just like this. Boom, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, it was very sharp.
I mean, it was that fast. So if his head was still at the 45, it's going straight through his noggin.
Yeah.
So if I'm entertaining the shots as real, and I love talking to my time traveler friends too. So it's like, I think that's pretty coul to consider.
Yeah, it is. It is fun. Have you heard about the water tower? Has anyone heard about the water tower at all?
Nobody was on it?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked too deeply into it, but people are like, why is no one talking about the water tower? Yeah, I mean, it seems like everything I've found is like no one was on it, and it would have been the perfect vantage point to have Secret Service or someone up there. But I just wondered if anyone heard anything about that. There was some interview with a lady talking about it.
Have you guys talked about how small the rally was? So I've never seen a Trump rally really that small. And if you look at the layout of it, it is a small venue. When you really
small town though, right? Butler, Pennsylvania.
Sure. And when you have an event, entertain me for a moment. If you're going to find dinosaur bones, you want it to be in a remote location. And you want to have your paleontologists from approved, accredited sites and locations there.
Shotty wants some dinosaur bone. All she's got to do is knock on the front door, baby. You know what I'm talking about?
Jesus. There he goes. Yes. So, of course, it's a small event, small town. Reminds me of other small towns and, mock towns even, like mock towns, like little towns that nobody really goes at, and they buy up all the real estate around the location of the event a year before.
Oh, yeah.
Happens, that type of stuff.
Like Uvalde or
Uvalde's
Newtown.
Uvalde is all UN owned all around that. The United Nations all over the United States. That is so UN owned right there. There are UN job applications for Uvalde everywhere. How many people here know that like the New York City is UN owned and operated?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Empire of the City type talk. Like, is that not real? London, Vatican.
Yeah, I mean, that one building at least.
Yeah, so people think there was a sniper on the water tower. People were shouting and pointing at it. There's several interviews. I mean, it's very, very high up, so no way to see it from the ground who's really up there. But there was no drone. I just thought drone cameras, surveillance drones would just be like first level. Like as soon as they get there, they just start whizzing them around. That's their first job, right? Just secure the bird's eye. I would have thought.
He got the B team. Trump got the B team apparently.
Yeah.
Right?
So do you think it's interesting how the media has been focusing on the story of how the shooter was tried out for the gun club or whatever, and he was said to be like his multiple classmates said that he was a bad shot, and they've been pointing out that he was a bad shot multiple times. So do you think that's an interesting connection for people who say that it's orchestrated?
Totally. I was saying that earlier, that's a good shot, for your first shot, climbing up on that hot ass roof, fucking knowing you're literally anticipating a kill shot coming your way, like in the next couple seconds, and your first or second shot is right on target. That's like, usually, I mean, everyone shoots a little different, but usually if you're that far away, you're some 20-year-old kid who's not like a, spec ops sniper.
Yeah, no
You're
experience.
probably going to need a couple shots. And if he's that accurate, why did only his first shot hit his ear and then it seems none of the other ones landed on target? I think it's pretty unlikely that guy made that shot unaided.
Is that
Right.
where the water tower sniper comes into play? Because
Well,
if allegedly someone orchestrated this to be a failed false flag attempt on Donald Trump's life to intentionally just hit his ear,
People are
that kid is not the guy who's going to do the job if he's allegedly a bad shot who failed making it onto the rifle team.
yeah,
Need the
he's
pack.
gonna accidentally.
people are saying it was iron sights too, meaning he had no magnification.
Oh,
The sun's
What?
coming down on top of him and his rifle. His rifle's hot too, probably.
this is stupid.
And he takes the first shot
That's
with iron
crazy.
sights, and apparently
With the bead.
So that would explain the firefighter who was killed, because he's just spraying into the crowd, and that was the direct line of sight. That guy was sitting basically as like straight, like where the crowd starts for him. But then if there was someone on the water tower that was actually using maybe a very, very silent, very powerful, very accurate weapon that might not even be very much information about, who knows, then they're able to either, if the purpose was to graze the ear, or if it was one between the eyes, then. And thinking about that, I mean, like if you were really planning this, it's a bit of it's kind of like a risk to aim for the head, even though like that's what happened with JFK.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a stretch,
Yeah.
but who's seen Pineapple Express? Okay. Infamous earshot in that movie.
There's multiple.
Infamous earshot in the what is it, like the underground hidden compartment section of this farmhouse, right?
Oh yeah. The
barn
weed grow room.
complex.
It's been so long.
Weed Growers. That was a funny movie.
Yeah.
There's an earshot in that movie, and MK Ultra is a big theme in that movie. Not not very overt, but at the beginning they're testing marijuana's effects for like mind control, like
In the 50s. Yeah.
yeah, they reference one of these mind MK Ultra experiments in that movie.
That's
So,
true.
There's an earshot in that movie.
Interesting.
There's also Fight Club has a shot through the like kind of the outer part of the jaw. He sticks the gun in his mouth. It goes out by his ear. That's kind of an MK Ultra split personality thing. But what I'm getting at here is there's a little bit of like a Gemini element to this too. And
Nice.
a movie that we didn't bring up earlier that some other people are bringing up. Mark Wahlberg, Shooter.
I've already brought him up. Trust me, my Instagram's going crazy right now.
Right. So this was produced, directed by Antoine Hawktua. How do you say that? How do you say that last name?
Lord Farquhar.
Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck.
Antoine Hawktua. Fuck you.
He directed Training Day.
Did he?
Yeah.
I love Training Day. Oh,
Okay. Did he also do Manchurian Candidate?
Oh.
I think he did. Yeah, he did the second one.
dang. Link it up, baby.
Okay, well, we're all linked. Yeah, for real. That's
Wow.
That's
I've
nail in
already
the coffin.
covered this on Instagram.
Mark Wahlberg has
Shooter.
2 car dealerships in Columbus too.
Ooh.
Mother.
So Shooter is about. They make the comment in this movie about how the assassins always have the 3-word name, triple name. And I saw the comment earlier about how, like I said,
Swagger.
it might be just specificity where they're saying this is the guy so that we're not, dragging other people with a similar name into the news stories. They use the 3 name, but in this movie, they make the remark that it's always a triple name. It's always a 3 name. It's all, the shooter had a name like you, and that's why they probably chose you for this, Bobby Lee Swagger. They say something like that in the movie. So Bob Lee Swagger. Mark Wahlberg, if I'm not mistaken, is a Gemini, like Trump.
Yep.
June 5th. So
The Manchurian Candidate wasn't directed by him, but
No.
shooter,
wasn't.
different. Another guy with a French name.
Jonathan Demme directed The Manchurian Candidate.
Right. Yes.
So,
Guys, I do want to let you know that I have a 10,000 view rant on Instagram right now about that nobody really caught. Someone was interviewed and said our guys shot the person in the stands. He literally says that. So he's talking about the shooters over here. Our guys are behind us. And he says, we thought we were going to get shot by our guys behind us. All the smoke coming from the guns behind him. He's explaining it clearly, and I shared it. I had to break it down for people. And he says, and then supposedly this person got shot over here by one of our guys, or supposedly they had a pistol or something and was shot by one of our guys, but I don't know, whatever. He says, was shot by one of our guys, and he already articulated that our guys were the good guys shooting at the shooter behind them. And so he literally says clearly, and I just posted it, and I made sure everyone can hear it. I cut it up so people like, hey, look, I'm just showing you what the freaking guy said. Our guys shot him or whatever. So that's kind of a big statement. If I'm an investigator, I'm going to make sure that that's a, kind of part of my investigation.
Totes. Now, interesting. That guy's name is a little similar to the director's name. That what's his name? Fuchs.
Fuqua.
Vincent de Fuchsia.
De Fuchsia.
Yeah, that guy had no reaction. That was pretty crazy. I heard you.
Yeah, we were talking about him while you were gone.
Yeah,
and so
people think he's JFK Jr. I don't see that. The build is not different. JFK Jr. He was a Sagittarius. He had broad, big shoulders, big jaw, big biceps, big jaw.
Yeah.
You can't just like trim someone's shoulders down to like half the width that they were before. Vincent
way smaller.
Fuchsia, if you look at his shoulders, that guy.
No, he's a shrimp. Yeah. So my theory about JFK Jr. is that Aristotle Onassis is his real father. Oh. Because when you look at him, he doesn't look anything like the Kennedys.
Wow.
Right.
I like that.
He's swarthy. He almost looks Grecian.
Yeah, there's a dark complexion to him.
When you look at Christopher Onassis, who was Aristotle Onassis's biological son, he looks just like JFK, and Jr. Yeah. And then when you look at Onassis as a young man, they look very, very similar.
Wow.
So Onassis was banging Jackie, right, while JFK was still president.
Damn.
He'd been around the Kennedy family for years because he was bringing rum.
All right, that's a psyop.
No, he was bringing rum from South America.
No, that's a psyop.
No, he was, man, dude.
That's fake. No, that's a conspiracy theory. No. No way in hell any sane man is tapping that without a gun to his head or blackmail.
Dude, and I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, he was friends with the Kennedy family for years. He brought rum to the Kennedys from South America. He was a Greek shipping magnate, and he brought opium into the country as well. That's how he made his money.
Why?
Right? So he was friends with the Kennedys. He got Teddy Kennedy out of the mess at Chappaquiddick. Right? That's the first person he called was Ariel Onassis, who was incredibly powerful.
Why she look like Dylan Mulvaney though?
Who?
Jackie. Yeah, Jackie Kennedy. Why does she look like a cross between Chaka from Land of the Lost?
I don't know. I mean,
Dylan Mulvaney.
I don't know.
He's just bringing some heat, Longo. Take it.
Hey, man. I mean, look.
I have a hard time believing.
Dude. It's about power. It's about a power exchange.
Any guy was willing to smash that from the front.
It's about Aristotle Onassis is an old guy, right? He's an old dude.
For breeding, for bloodlines.
It reminds me of Hitler's mother worked in the house of Rothschild type of scenario. Blah, blah, blah. You hear, if you've ever heard that.
As a maid.
The maid. Okay, so why does Hitler become so huge in these roles with all this private stuff?
Take a look at Caroline Kennedy, who is his sister. She has that jowly bulldog face that all the other Kennedys have.
Mm,
JFK Jr. doesn't. He looks
Right.
completely different.
yeah.
Completely.
Well, it's I think talking about JFK's assassination and then, the changes politically, his relationship with Israel leading up to it, obviously everyone he was angering domestically as well. And really, just looking into motives and who benefits currency, like you've said, Spencer, and also, the dominance of different nations overseas, their plans for war, constant war profiteering. And I think we're right on the precipice here, just globally. There's so much happening, escalating with Russia. I mean, they've done okay. Yeah, there we go. Just to show what you mean.
No amount of MK Ultra can get a guy
They got married.
in the
They were
mood
married.
for this.
They were married.
Is
Right?
that it for my
That's double MK Ultra penis
Right.
not involved.
So they were
This
married,
was-
and Onassis was an old dude at this point, right? Like he was in his 60s, and she's what, in her 30s?
now we
She's
got
half his age, right? So
Love
anyway,
is love, Longo.
Kinda looks like
Sometimes
stage.
those eyes, you stare into those eyes. You gotta do one and then do the other. But some man did like to do that every day when he woke up.
plus she's related to the Auchincloss family. Like that's who raised her. And they're
So,
one of these
cash.
really wealthy Jewish families from the East Coast.
Bingo.
So
There it
there's
is.
lots of connections there.
That'll put a ring on
Here.
it, I reckon.
We got a good one.
It's
here.
it's those wealthy, influential people.
So what comes after this event, Astrology?
Hang on.
Event
Hang on.
comes after this stuff,
Guys,
It's just-
Guys, I think we're unlocking the code here.
Is she being silenced?
It's all making sense now. The 9/11, the Twin Towers, Gemini. By parking a Boeing 747 between her eyes,
oh my god!
I will hereby unlock the Illuminati code.
Give her the unibrow. No, just give her the unibrow, man.
Guys, it works. It
Yeah.
fits. You can officially fit a Boeing 747 between Jacqueline Kennedy's eyes. Okay, it's been accomplished here.
Nice.
He looks better. He looks better with a unibrow.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. Cillian Murphy's looking pretty caked up here. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure. That's his next role. Natalie
It's-
Portman was not a good choice.
It's giving me
Yeah.
like one of those fish that hang on the wall at one of those old restaurants or something.
They
type
sing.
vibes.
Right. They turn. Yeah.
Save my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
Singing fish. It's like a swoosh. Very nice.
Yes, that's the actual plane where they made her give head to LBJ midair in order to pass the Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney yeast bug from one president to the next through the tranny wife multiverse. Guys, come on! If you're not following me here, you clearly haven't seen my Ormond Beach Uncovered video, which
Yeah.
outright exposes the prevalence of first lady or first man.
Oh my
We
gosh!
got a lot of first men. Michelle Obama was not the first.
No,
Michelle
not even.
Obama.
Hey, man,
No way.
she's a 10 compared to the rest. Let's be honest.
A 10?
Right. Yep.
Are you
She's the-
crazy?
She's the newest model. She's the
A
newest
10?
system update.
I like
No.
the man,
You compare
No,
her to
no,
Barbara
no,
Bush.
no.
and it's
the
not
man
even
that impersonates Barbara Bush crushed.
Dude.
That's all I got to say.
right.
No.
Or Eleanor Roosevelt for that matter, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's straight up asset retainment, damage control right there. Those are men. Those are people with bloodlines. That's trusts. Those are old trusts, bloodlines.
You reckon it's the Macron's wife? The Macron in France is what's Brigitte? You reckon it's still going globally? Europe too.
Dude, everything went silent on that. That got exposed to high hell, and then
Oh wow, yeah, everyone froze up. You can't talk about Brigitte,
Whoa.
but have you not seen anything about that? It's a whole lawsuit in France right now because journalists have been exposing it, and he has been suing them and shutting it down, and it's become
Wait,
a
hang
whole
on.
thing.
Hang on.
Do you guys want to do?
You're telling me I can't call a French guy a fucking homo anymore? Huh?
Oh my god.
What is
You
this?
guys-
Huh? What's the world coming to? Huh? Come on. Every man in France is a lady boy. Come on. They made us a copper lady boy and sent it over on some boats. Okay. Lady liberties. You know, they've had their hands in the tranny movement for a long time. France is like tranny headquarters.
Yeah.
Sorry, YouTube. They'll
Left hand path.
Hey,
Well,
Right,
isn't
since
that
the
the ancient like Greek philosophy though? The splitting of the two people, the ones that are attracted to men are the ones that usually lead society. So that's why they date trannies.
Well, now,
Oh.
Shem. We're going way over your pay grade here. Okay, you're not, qualified to speak on the reality of man on man decision making. How government is government, you could say. It's govern men, govern men
Look,
T
for my
T men.
what do you see, Shem? Tell us what you see, Shem.
I would like to do if we're finished with the Trump thing, we should definitely do a first lady tier list. But
Oh,
Oh, that's good.
that's the ticket.
That's
but
good.
my understanding was that when I think it was according to Plato, like when people were split up, there were people who were attracted to males that are attracted, or females that are attracted to females, and then males that are attracted to females. And the ones that were attracted to males were the ones who were in the position of power in government, which is why you had the pederasty in ancient history where they would pass the wisdom down to like young boys who they would have these relationships with.
Solomon's key.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Straight out of the church, brother.
But it's a trauma control methodology, right? And
Yes
it's
and
starting
no.
from-
Yes and no. There's an undeniable link between bisexuality and genius. Don't take it from me. Go look it up. It's not.
You heard it here first.
I'm
He's
the
quoted.
authority on both matters. To be.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear
Well-
about your Saturday night longer.
Shem. If I detect one more uptick in your testosterone levels, you're never coming on the show again.
How you guys
Don't
feel
tease
about
me.
it? What
Don't
about
tease me
now?
with a good time.
That was a good
What
one.
was that, Spence?
That was a good one, though.
What about how do you guys feel about being able to speak on the topic? So Alex Jones didn't fare so well for this type of talk, and like that was recent. So I mean,
What the men?
we don't need to mention the event that Alex Jones
Oh yeah.
court for if it messes up his algorithms. But I'm just saying, I think
Brand,
that's a pretty big breach of freedom of speech, and I understand defamation to a certain extent. But what we've done on this channel for
I ain't no bitch. I'll say that shit right now. Sandy Hook was fake as fuck.
yeah. Well, this is it. When you say they were actors, it's like
Sandy Hooker. And nothing worse than Sandy Hook is a couple of Sandy Hookers in South Beach.
I'm getting ready to launch a company.
Those are fake.
Going on my parole. God, my parole officer's gonna see this.
that would be $1
Sandy
billion.
Hook. Sandy Hook is a step up from a rusty hook. You know what a rusty hook is?
Yes.
All
Well,
right.
look,
Do you
I
think
got to
that-
bounce. I got work
Drop-
in the morning, so I'm gonna
I'm gonna
say
take off too.
bonsoir,
We'll wrap it up here.
gentlemen.
swell.
But
We
look,
got a
who
shelf.
knows what happens?
Have a good night, boys.
Mr. Phoenix, pleasure. Nice to be on with you for the first time.
Hey
sir.
man, one of these days I want to talk to you about that event in South Carolina because I did a deep dive into that.
Absolutely.
And, yeah,
Virginia
maybe
Tech
maybe
Oh.
I'll have you on the show. We could just go over all of them. That'd be cool.
Oh my! I would love to
That'd
go
be
back in
amazing.
time, see what's still brewing up there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because I was like obsessed with that shit too. I was not I didn't go as far as to like apply for a crisis actor gig, right? But I spent a lot of time breaking those events down. So
Yeah.
yeah, we get you on some
Very
Friday.
interesting.
While I have you all, before
Yeah.
you guys pop out, I would
Oh
love
yeah.
for us all to just touch on this, guys. Some tough times these last couple days. If you want to show your support in your own unique old world Florida way, you can go by yourself, available here to the public for the very first time. We'll ship them to you. This is my Shopify that Jimmy Stingray was so kind enough to help set up for us. Old World Florida dot myshopify
.com.
dot com.
Yeah, that's
That's
the merch site, and there will be more and more merch being added. But it's up, it's operational, it's active. It's Old World Florida .myshopify.com right
Put it
there.
Put in the chat.
Yeah.
There it
It's
is.
in the
And
chat,
we're going to
guys.
be sending the link around. You can copy and paste it. You get those visors, which is not just. See, you can go get a MAGA hat, right? Or if you already have one, that's great. You want the visor. It's
Yep.
next level, and you want
Guys.
it to be Atlantis to start a new conversation.
Yep. This is not your old boring MAGA hat. Okay. This is crown chakra activation. This is anti-yarmulke technology. This
Inverted.
is inverted. Yes. This is counter yarmulke technology. This is crown chakra expanding. Access the crown chakra. Let the sun touch it. Don't smother it like a rabbi. Don't smother it like a pope or Zucchetto and Imam, whatever. They're all wearing their little Saturn caps, little incel caps. Who cares? Unleash the crown chakra.
That's right.
Let the sun hit that Saturnian chakra.
I don't know, bro. I don't know
Show,
about
Yes.
show God,
We'll
show
go
God that you are on team light and life. Don't smother your crown chakra. Okay. Let it rip. Let it start churning. Let it do what it's supposed to do. And go get yourself a hat. Make Atlantis great again visor. 100% cotton.
Yeah.
100% cotton. You
Embroidered.
get one of these, you're not going to have a smidge of chemicals on you. 100% cotton.
That's right.
You put this on your head, you will be armored for spiritual warfare. Okay.
Yep.
This is what everyone needs. Everyone out there in the chat, I want you to go to oldworldflorida.myshopify.com, grab yourself a hat, and guess what? I just moved into a place. I've been living in my van for like 5 years or so, if not more. I just moved into a house for the first time. So these donations will help a lot more now than maybe at other times that we've asked you. So if you'd like to contribute, that's the number one way you can for the time being. Go get yourself a Make Atlantis Great Again visor. And
we've only actually ordered a pretty small amount, so it just has the first, just to kick off the merch. So there's actually not that many. So you do want to, if you like the look of it, you do want to jump in. It's $30 including shipping. So $30,
25 plus
with shipping, but yeah, 25 plus shipping. So it's basically under 30. But yeah, it's a conversation starter as well. I mean, there's going to be a lot of MAGA hats out there in the lead up, and there's also going to be a lot of freaked out people, freaked out blues, and they're going to be looking to fight. And I'm sure there's going to be some funny moments where they come at you and they start screaming, and then they know you're like, hey, whoa, read it, and then you got a new friend.
I'd definitely like to see a red T-shirt with the same font. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah. Teaser next. Teaser coming next. Watch this space. They've already been worn and enjoyed and purchased at the meetups in person. You can buy them obviously in person at the bookstore. But for all of our all the old world Florida fans that are all over the world, we ship internationally. So
Look at
Oh,
that.
click
yeah.
the link and get on in there.
Look at his smile and his hair coming out of that.
Yeah, it looks great. Drizzy's got to be the next visor model. We've got to have a special photo shoot just for
Shout out BBL Drizzy in
Kino.
the fresh hat.
Yeah, it's like he's made for it. It's made for him. Perfect. All right, gents, I gotta go to sleep now.
Jimmy,
This has been really fun and interesting.
Last
And,
question: Does Trump survive until election day?
Oh, that is the big question.
yo, we got one order already on the hats.
Bravo.
One order on the hats.
Smart buyer right there. Get on
Appreciate
in.
it.
Get them before they're gone. Honestly, we didn't order that many.
Yep.
So, he went to the RNC. He's spoken at the RNC. Everyone's probably seen it. He's already got the Van Gogh bandage patch on the ear. He freaking ball it in there. He's meeting people. He's not afraid. He's not afraid at all.
You know what it reminds me of? Singing with the earpiece. Take me out tonight.
Yeah, very Morrissey.
Morrissey
Yeah.
with the ear clip,
one.
the UN translation
Yeah.
clip. It's not even a
Yeah, it's like a
hearing aid.
Nuremberg thing. Yeah.
Also a Gemini.
there
Also
you
pretty
go.
based. Shout out
Yeah.
Morrissey. But
Yeah, we love Stephen Morrissey.
Jimmy Stingray, thanks for joining us. Guys,
Peace,
shout out
everybody.
to him
Peace.
making the hats possible.
See
He's
you, brother.
Have a good
Jimmy's
night.
getting a cut of the hats too. So
Yeah.
we appreciate
Yeah.
the support. And peace, Jimmy.
Fight.
Amen.
See ya.
Later.
Robert Phoenix. Peace, Robert. You have a good night, man.
Have a good
Thanks
night,
for
man.
joining it. Here, let's pull up his YouTube channel.
Chattanooga, Virginia reporter, Charleston. We could go on and on. Lafayette, Louisiana, Boulder, Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. I mean, it's the list. It's still in my head, actually. Uvalde. I mean, we could keep going and going.
What
So
was
guys-
it? What was it in San Diego? Rancho? What is it? Was the kid at the Jewish temple? What was that kid's name?
Oh, the
I
bomb,
don't remember.
the little bomb.
Yeah, right. And then there was the shooter in Pittsburgh at the Chabad in Pittsburgh, the guy who's never been actually tried for that crime. Right?
Yeah. I mean, oh gosh, we should all start like recover it because there was an era, like sounds like when you were into it and I was, where there was YouTubers just beginning to be popular for this stuff, and we were kind of crushing it, and nobody really knew about it but us.
Oh, I was all over it, man. I was
That's
all
so
over it. Yeah, we'll take a trip down memory lane.
That would be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
applicable.
fellas, I'm out of here. See ya.
Robert
Very nice.
Phoenix, the 11th house. Go give him a subscription, guys. We got 3 orders placed on the hats so far. Shell, yeah, killing it. Appreciate you guys. Also, I'm doing astrological chart readings again. I took about a year off from that. I'm doing birth chart readings, natal chart. I did one today. Did America's a couple, 10 days ago or whatever. And back in the swing. So if you guys would like a chart reading, can hit me up on Instagram. Also,
Good, dude.
that's Robert Phoenix's YouTube channel. Go give him a subscribe, guys. They censor and shadow ban him pretty hard too. I know how it is. Go give him a subscription. I'd appreciate that. He'd appreciate that, and you'll get your money's worth for no money, but you'll get it for free. World-class astrological breakdowns almost every night, like multiple nights a week. So Robert Phoenix, the 11th house, appreciate him bringing some maturity into this stable of young bucks, young
That's a good point.
rowdy horses. So shout out to Robert Phoenix being my astrological conspiracy YouTube father figure, you could say. And always love when he comes on the channel. Go give him a subscription. Okay.
Amen.
We got multiple orders on the hat.
That's
Appreciate the hats, guys. Something else, if you're going to tip, if you're still here at the end, right? We don't like to push too much at the beginning. Like to let you guys absorb. Then we lay the the products on you and stuff. But this is my Venmo. So if you're going to tip, it would probably be better off to do it through there. YouTube won't get a cut. So YouTube won't get a cut of this. If you feel like tipping, that's the place to do it. On screen right now, it's a QR code. That'll work. Anima Mundi. Is that Anima Mundi from our store? Here? Herbal stuff? I don't know. But thanks for the $9.99. Anima Mundi. Fanthony Butchie. thanks for the $10. Happy Camper, thanks for the $19.99. Adam Lipsky, thanks for the $5.99. Dickie Goodman, thanks for the $4.99.
huge night.
Conspiracy, synchronicity, coincidence, all explained by astrology. Susie Gemini, thanks for the $3.33. You commented that a little earlier. I threw it up on the screen, but shout out to the best astrologer, Mr. Robert Phoenix. Couldn't agree more. All right, what else we got? So if you want to tip, you can hit that link on screen, QR code. That way YouTube doesn't take like 30% or whatever it is. I should probably put that up at the beginning of the chat or whatever, but what else can you do, guys? The next best way for you to support the channel, go over to galloglassbooks.shop and get yourself a copy of Monad, Neoplatonic Compendium, introduction by Ken Wheeler of YouTube fame.
Amazing.
Introduction by Ken Wheeler. Very hard to, get in a good copy, big book like this. 800 pages. This is like 3 books in one. Very reasonable price. Super high quality book. This is a lot of my brother's hard work went into this, and every truther needs a copy of this. Every real truther. If you're a Blue Chew Manscaped, dude wipe truther, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're better off just calling everything fake and just scrolling over to the next video. Fake, next, fake, next. Fake, psyop, fake, controlled, psyop, CIA agent, fake. If you're one of those guys, you're probably not much of a reader anyway. So just forego the book. But if you like to read, if you like to learn, and if you like to know real deal issues like vegetarianism, adrenochrome diet, Monad covers that too. Covers, duality. What are we doing here in life? Things like that. What do the Neoplatonists had to say? These are kind of in between Plato and us. They were interpreting Plato, hence Neoplatonic. So
I'm down with PPP.
Yep, triple P too. Plotinus, Porphyry, Proclus.
That's powerful.
Porphyry.
You can feel it.
Porphyry has the bit. Porphyry has the bit on abstinence from animal flesh. Though I wouldn't call it abstinence because it's not like you're abstaining from something you don't want to do already.
Yeah.
Abstaining is like you're fighting the urge, kind of. But
I got to admit, I binged all of Ken Wheeler's work that was available until I even knew who you were. I had been binging him, Mind Unveiled and John Levi and all these. But Ken Wheeler was like, I went to him for physics for so long, and it started leading me into some of this, his interpretations and all of his digitizations even are freaking incredible that he's brought to light that we wouldn't have because of him. So like, it's awesome to me that link happened. I didn't know you guys. I knew nothing of you guys, and nobody knew who Ken Wheeler was that I had ever known or talked to. And I was kind of obsessed with his physics work going into his all of his skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That book cover is freaking gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, it's sick.
Shipped
Get a
out.
get a copy of the Monad, guys. It's
Shipped
ready
out today.
Yep, it's ready to ship today.
Wow.
Ready to ship. So
Wow.
hit this thing up, get yourself a copy, flex it on Instagram. I'll shout you back out. If you tag us, you got a copy, I'll shout you out with it. Same with the hats. If you got a hat, you got anything, make sure to send it in to me. I'll repost 100%. So get yourself a copy of the Monad. Someone said they wanted the QR code. There's a QR code. If you want to scan that or just scroll back in the video, whatever. What else we got? So we got Old World Florida, Make Atlantis Great Again, 100% cotton visor. We've got the Monad. And then the next way you can support the channel, support us, is to go to the Dancing Elephant Bookstore. Or maybe it's just Dancing Elephant Bookstore. I think it's Dancing Elephant Bookstore. Yeah, so Dancing Elephant. No, the Dancing Elephant .shop. I think that's. No, just Dancing Elephant .shop. Okay. Sorry, guys. Dancing Elephant .shop. Go and use the code OWF. Now, a number of you have been ordering stuff, and that's going to get out to you shortly. So, people are using this, getting great stuff off the books, like astrology, learning astrology, man's higher consciousness is on there. We sell a lot of those. Manly P. Hall, lots of good stuff. So, we got books, crystals. Use the code OWF. You'll get 10% off. What else do we got? We've got
Sheesh, keep going.
the moringaman.com.
Oh yeah.
Get yourself some 100% organic, pure, single ingredient moringa. Moringa is a superfood. It's very nutritious. It's like a dietary supplement. It's been called the cure to world hunger. It's been nicknamed. And its nutritional value is very, very few things like it. More, what do they say? More vitamin C than oranges? That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
More iron than spinach. More calcium than whatever else it says. More calcium than milk, or it's there on the packaging, but all the superlatives. This stuff's super good for you. This will make you muscular, make you strong, help you gain, good weight too, if that's what you're trying to do. Very nutritious. So you won't be missing out on any nutrients if you're incorporating moringa into your diet. This is 100% veggie capsules, no dead animals, no corpses, no adrenochrome in here. You can rest assured. Get yourself some moringa. Use the code Old World Florida, spelt out in full. Old World Florida. That'll get you 15% off at themoringaman.com. Super, super good for you. This stuff grows all over Florida. There's a Florida business, my buddy Alex over in Dunedin. Very, very nice guy. Very, honest, friendly, nice, super nice. Almost too nice. So he was a supporter for over a year before we started, got in business together. Same thing with the other one that we're going to go to. But this is themoringaman.com. Use the code Old World Florida. That'll help me out. This stuff's really good. You'll like it. I guarantee it. good in water with a little lemon. You can pop a capsule or you can empty it in your water, put a little lemon in there. It tastes amazing. It's like a tea. It's like what you'd expect. Kind of tastes like grass clippings, not in a bad way, in a good way. Fresh, earthy.
When you eat it, like right off the tree, I've got a couple trees in my yard. If you eat it off the tree, it has a peppery taste at the end that no other green in my yard has. It has its own peppery taste that's like, it's a good kick. We add it to every meal. We literally add moringa to every meal at the house.
100%. And also, Sip Blue, guys. Sip Blue. You can get Sip Blue, which is butterfly pea flower tea. This is sipblue.com. You can use the code OWF when shopping on sipblue.com. The flagship product is butterfly pea flower tea. It turns water blue when you put it in. It turns your water into like misty mountain blue Gatorade. It's remarkable. Very blue, a striking effect when you mix it into your water. If you add a little lemon to this you get like this chemical reaction where it turns purple, right? So Sip Blue, turn your water blue. This stuff's less of a supplement and more of like a detoxer, more of a blood purifying agent, more of a, people say that it achieves DNA activation, like turning red blood back to blue blood, keeping the blood blue, keeping the blood pure. Super good for circulation. And this is good for detoxing, if you're feeling down, sick, things like that. Moringa's got like a little bit more of a nutritional benefit. This is a little bit more of like a spiritual energy detox, organ health type thing. More of a subtle behind the scenes effect, but very good for you. It's good for energy too. People swear by it, saying it's like an energy drink in the morning. And my girlfriend takes a lot of this. And Sip Blue reactivate your dormant blood, blue blood, Atlantean DNA, copper-blooded, Rh negative. You guys know the whole deal. This stuff's great for that. So use the code OWF on sipblue.com. And they've also got Shilajit on there. That's kind of a little bit more of like a supplement, jam-packed with minerals. And then also Algae of Life you can get on there too. So 3 legendary products there. Single ingredient, none of that nonsense, none of this. The moringa is 100% traceable too, by the way.
Dr. Sebi approved.
Yep. But Sip Blue, we sell this stuff in the store, so we proudly stand by this product. I wouldn't shill anything to you guys that I wouldn't invite someone into the store to look at, smell, taste, try themselves, and walk out satisfied. So you get the Dr. Longo guarantee here. And just a little side note, guys, if you're over here watching these fucking Blue Chew dude wipe, you got your manscape your biz before you get started on the FAP sesh. So you're all manscaped with your conspiracy.net promo code, whatever. You're all manscaped up for your business in your mom's basement. You just shut off the Joe Rogan Experience, and then boom, that one little video catches your eye, so you pop a Blue Chew, right? We've all been there, okay? No, just kidding. Never. Dr. Longo's never needed a Blue Chew. Thank you very much. Never will. That's only something that corpse eaters really deal with. But I would say that if you're one of these Blue Chew types, maybe you'd be better off with Sip Blue, because guess what? It has that effect too. Circulation, yep, a lot of veins in that part of the body, and Blue Chew is all up in that biz. Yeah, It's going to get you right back into action.
Does
Back into action.
Does it affect the flavor of the action? Some things do. I hear. Internet. Heard on the internet.
I think we'd have to ask Shem about that one, but Spencer, I think it would be fine. I don't think it would taste any differently than the stuff you're normally
Why
guzzling.
do you? That's what I was gonna say. Why do you care?
Oh my god.
I know. Okay. What do you care? That's good. That's good.
We're only teasing. But yeah, colloidal silver will make your nut blue, guys. Sip blue will make you nut blue. We should call it jizz blue. nut blue.
I've had like 20 silver dimes in my copper vessel for like 2 months now. Just chilling.
Chill, yeah.
Sounds
So that's it, blue guys, and I think that's all we got for you. Well, we got the Patreon. Go hit up our Patreon and sign up. Get all our stuff archived. Anything that gets taken off YouTube due to censorship or whatever, it'll be on Patreon.
Hell yeah.
If something's so old that you can't find it on YouTube, it'll be on Patreon. So nothing's paywalled, but this is a paid reserve that you can tap into. And everything I do is going to come out free to you, to the public, 100% free. As long as you stay up to date with us, you'll get it for free. So don't want to hear any complaining about products or pushing, making money off this. You can suck my balls. If you want me to stay poor and keep doing this, you can suck my balls. So, it's one way or the other. It's either, doesn't matter. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Spencer from Florida.
Yo, let's do the just like the orange video. So the orange classifications, but fast food. Like ranking the way you did that whole chart. I would love a charted out fast food live. Not after your debut.
I think PewDiePie already did that.
What?
Yeah. Tier lists are like a big thing. We're actually like 5 years behind the trend on that too, a little bit.
Well, for fuck's
Truther
sake.
channel tier list.
Truther channel tier list. That's a good one. I'm thinking we do once a week. We do a gossip sesh and just piss people off, like criticizing a certain YouTuber or truther, conspiracy, figure or whatever. But all right.
I may join just so I don't end up the topic.
Well, all right, guys. Everyone have a good night. Spencer from Florida. Hit him up. It's TikTok, Instagram.
No, TikTok canned me, but
off TikTok, but he'll be back.
Love you guys. Thanks for the invite.
Right.
You guys are
Peace.
Peace.
Props to
boys.
the chat.
Shem from Tartarian Truth. Go hit him up. Tartarian Truth channel.
Save your time. Spend time with your family.
History meme account.
That's the true tartar sauce. Say
Let's do it. Here, do it one more time.
spend time with your family.
Can we pay some respects to our boy Corey, who Giga Chad, the guy who shielded his family from the bullets, the guy who passed away at the Trump assassination attempt?
Yeah.
Whoa, 100%.
The man that all of us should aspire to be.
A man that did what men should do in those situations instead of look around like bloody idiots and like, "Ooh." That's what a man does.
Yeah, God bless this guy. May God protect his family.
Yeah.
All of us can only
real.
aspire to be as much of a man as this dude.
Bless all of them.
God bless. Very sad to hear about this guy, but very relieved that our president's still with us. So everyone have a good night. Good night to the chat. Thanks for enduring the normie talking points and our failure to just give in to the whole Campbell's chicken noodle psyop soup everything's psyop this, psyop that. Doesn't matter. Whatever. A lot of people disagree. They want to hear everything be a psyop, everything be Illuminati, New World Order controlled. Oh, I'm afraid there's just a little bit more nuance to it than that. And we'll do our best, guys.
Wesley Chapel.
But everyone look into it for themselves. I know we're not, informing anyone about this. Everyone saw it.
Hey, free Subway in Wesley Chapel, Durbesh Patel. I'm right down the road, bro. Durbesh, Spencer from Florida. I could hit you with a 9-iron. So we'll come see you.
Someone's name was Free Subway.
Thank you, guys. Free Subway anytime in Wesley Chapel. I could hit that with my freaking 3-wood.
Toads.
Later.
All right, guys. Everyone have a good night. Peace, Shem. Peace, Spence.
See you later. Peace out.
Dr. Narco Longo. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Magic. Welcome to Florida, baby. Florida is the original Garden of Eden. Florida has the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world. Florida oranges are the golden apples of mythology. A race of giant men once roamed this peninsula. The Smithsonian can suck my balls. Florida is littered with many ancient megalithic ship anchors, known as Saxor stones. Orange man good. Clippers wheel out of Florida. Old World, Florida. Dr. Narco Longo.